Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're looking at running for president.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red cake.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will not become president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president.
Moderator, but apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the
Let's see, I'm at 42 and you're at 3.
We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
So right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8 electoral votes, in Indiana with its 11 electoral votes, West Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio, Idaho, North Carolina.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Together, we will make America great again.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy D-Day Cobra, and I am happy to see all of you here. It has been a little while because I missed the Monday CobraCast, and I sincerely apologize to all of you for that. Just way too exhausted. I had nothing to give, and I was out of it completely. But we're back now, and we're ready to rock and roll. And I didn't even realize this is how irrelevant the GOP is right now. I didn't realize that there was a debate tonight until I saw a couple people mention it. And so the debate is going on right now. You guys can tell me if you want me to share it or not, and we can just sit there and roast these clowns. There's 4 of them. There's probably going to be some good stuff between Vivek and Meatball DeSantis, but we'll see. It's I totally forgot. I it was a thing. Should I share it? I saw you over there, Dougie B, with that $10 Rumble rant. Let's go. And right here, you took the corn just sideways. That's from my thumbnail. All right. So look, it's going on. Let's at least tune in and see what's happening really quickly. Okay. So let me unmute it.
Beating you in Florida by over 30 points. Is it fair to say, as Senator Tim Scott did when he dropped out, that voters are telling you not no, but not now?
Yeah.
So we have a great idea in America that the voters actually make these decisions.
not pundits or pollsters. I'm sick of hearing about these polls because I
he's
remember
so
those
defensive.
polls in November of 2022. They said there was going to be a big red wave. It was going to be monumental, and that crashed and burned. The one place it didn't crash and burn was in the state of Florida. They weren't predicting that I would win the way I did, and I won the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
No.
I'm looking forward to Iowa and New Hampshire. The voters are going to be able to speak, and we're going to earn this nomination. And here's what we need. I am sick of Republicans who are not willing to stand up and fight back against what the left is doing to this country. You've got to be willing to stand strong, and you've got to be willing to beat these people. I'm the only one running for president that has beaten these people on issue after issue. We beat the teachers' unions when we did school choice. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat George Soros when we removed 2 of his radical district attorneys. We beat the Democrats on election integrity. I have delivered results. That's what we need for this country. And you have other candidates up here like Nikki Haley. She caves anytime the left comes after her, anytime the media comes after her. I did a bill in Florida to stop the gender mutilation of minors. It's child abuse and it's wrong. She opposes that bill. She thinks it's fine and the law shouldn't get involved with it. If you're not willing to stand up for the kids, if you're not willing to stand up and say that it is wrong to mutilate these kids, then you're not going to fight for the people back home. I will.
Why does he sound so nervous? Why does he sound? Why did he sound so nervous? He sounded like he was shaking. Okay. And I truly don't care what Nikki Haley has to say. She's a warmonger. No one respects Nikki Haley. But he sounded like he was shivering.
Weeks ago, you met with Wall Street heavyweights, including leaders from J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and BlackRock. Several other billionaire investors are reportedly ready to endorse you, or recently have, all of which comes with expectations. Aren't you too tight with the banks and the billionaires to win over the GOP's working class base, which mostly wants to break the system, not elect someone beholden?
Is it me or their microphones not working properly? It sounds like the microphones are messed up.
Respond to Ron. He continues to lie about my record. I actually said his Don't Say Gay bill didn't go far enough because it only talked about gender until the 3rd grade. And I said it shouldn't be done at all, that's for parents to talk about. It shouldn't be talked about with schools. In reference to donors coming on board, look, we will take support from anybody we can take support from. But I have been a conservative fighter all my life. I was a Tea Party candidate when I became governor. We opposed every single corporate bailout we possibly could. We passed tort reform. We passed one of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country. We passed pro-life bills. We moved an unemployment.
That is true. She did call it the Don't Say Gay bill, which shows her, and she wasn't saying it unironically. You know what I mean? Like she was saying it to be serious. She wasn't trying to troll with it. So that's a left-wing talking point. That just shows who she is and what she's all about.
Policies are. They ask me what my policies are, and I tell them what it is. Sometimes they agree with me, sometimes they don't. Some don't like how tough I am on China. Some don't like the fact that I've signed pro-life bills. Some don't like the fact that I may oppose corporate bailouts. That doesn't matter. That's who I am, and that's why
I can't stand her, dude. Like, there's 3 people on this stage that I can't stand. Chris Christie, who's fat. Just want to point that out. Nikki Haley, who's a warmonger, and Ron DeSantis, who's a backstabber. I actually find Vivek to be pretty damn entertaining, though.
Rights and Education bill. It was about prohibiting sex change operations on minors. They do puberty blockers. These are irreversible. Talk to Chloe Cole. She went through this. Now she's an adult. She's warning against it. She may never be able to have kids again. That is what Nikki Haley opposed. She said the law shouldn't get involved in that. And I just ask you, if you're somebody that's going to be the president of the United States and you can't stand up against child abuse, how are you going to be able to stand up for anything? That is the truth. We have it on video.
I said that if you have to be 18 to get a tattoo, you should have to be 18 to have anything done to change your gender.
You said the law should stay out of it.
We're gonna get to this in more detail later. Let's finish with electability, but trust me, we're coming back to this issue. Mr. Ramaswamy, for months you campaigned as a unifier. Then you stood up at the first debate and attacked all of your competitors as bought and paid for. The second debate, you changed your tune, saying these are good people on this stage, admitting you can come across as a bit of a know-it-all and rejecting the practice of personal insults. By debate number 3, you called Nikki Haley corrupt, accused Ron DeSantis of wearing high heels, and told Ambassador Haley she should keep a closer eye on her daughter. Can you see how this has led some to conclude you are not, in fact, a unifier, and to question your authenticity?
Megyn, I think there's a time and place for everything. We need somebody in the White House who absolutely is going to be a fighter when it counts. And I did say that there were some good people on that stage in that third debate. Doug Burgum was on that stage at that time, and I'll say that jokingly. Ron DeSantis is a good person, too. I want to go back, though, to Nikki Haley's comment from earlier that she is somehow not responding to the will of these donors. Nikki, you were bankrupt when you left the UN. After you left the UN, you became a military contractor. You actually started joining service on the board of Boeing, whose back you scratched for a very long time, and then gave foreign multinational speeches like Hillary Clinton is, and now you're a multimillionaire. That math does not add up. It adds up to the fact that you are corrupt. And when I said they were bought and paid for, I meant the Republican establishment, not the Democratic establishment. Now you have Reid Hoffman, the person who's effectively George Soros Jr., funding lawsuits across this country against Donald Trump to keep him off the ballot, funding left-wing causes. We discovered this week that he is one of Nikki Haley's largest supporters. Larry Fink, the king of the woke industrial complex, the ESG movement, the CEO of BlackRock, the most powerful company in the world, now supporting Nikki Haley. And to say that doesn't affect her is false, because it's after that meeting later that day that she says that every American needs to be doxxed by having their ID, their government-issued ID, tied to what they say on the internet. So I think that this is far more corrupt than I even imagined when I entered politics. But I will say this. It is going to take a leader from the outside with fresh legs from the next generation to unite this country. Not the broken politicians who are puppets of the puppet masters, but the actual people in this country. Thomas Jefferson was 33 when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. I think it's going to take somebody whose best
Chris
days
Christie's fat.
in life are still ahead to see a country whose best days are ahead of itself. And I think I can reach that next generation better than anybody else in this race.
Thank you. Response.
Megyn. First of all, we weren't bankrupt when I left the UN. We're people of service. My husband is in the military, and I served our country as UN ambassador and governor. It may be bankrupt to him, but it certainly wasn't bankrupt to us. Secondly, I did serve on the board of Boeing. I did a lot of work with Boeing when I was governor. They were a great partner to me. I served for 10 months. And then when they decided after...
See how Ron DeSantis was standing there? He was thinking about his posture. He was thinking about how he looks. And Nikki Haley, every time she talks, it sounds like she's straining to take a poop. That's how she talks. It's like she's straining to poop.
People in South Carolina, but that's why I left the Boeing board. There's nothing to what he's saying. And in terms of these donors that are supporting me, they're just jealous. They wish that they were supporting them, but I'm not going to sit there and deny.
Let me get the governor in and then I'll go.
So,
to Governor
and
DeSantis.
Vivek,
Are you
he
jealous?
wrote a book talking about ESG and these woke corporations and BlackRock. The idea that I want to do that in Florida, they were managing our part of our pension. And then when they did the ESG, I took $2 billion away from BlackRock. We took action. This ESG, they call it environment, social governance. And again, Nikki is meeting with all these people. They want to use economic power to impose a left-wing agenda on this country. They want basically to change society without having to go through the constitutional process. We've kneecapped it in the state of Florida. The next president of the United States needs to be able to go to that office on day one and end ESG. And the fact of the matter is, we know from her history, Nikki will cave to those big donors when it counts. And that is not acceptable.
I did write that book, Ron, and the irony is Nikki Haley was heaping praise on me when I wrote that book, but now I worry. I was warning about the woke industrial complex in this country as a warning. Apparently, she read it as a how-to manual, just like she reads George Orwell's books as well. And so I think that that's actually far more dangerous than, this is really important for people to understand. We're marching towards fascism under Biden. Jack Smith has subpoenaed every last retweet that someone has issued from Donald Trump in the year 2020. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom. That is fascism. And she should come nowhere near the levers of power, let alone the White House.
I've got to get to Governor Christie. I haven't forgotten
No,
about
but
you,
can
sir.
I just say,
Can you speak?
I really appreciate
How
that.
you doing, sir?
Good to see you.
Can you please speak to the requirement that you said that every anonymous internet user needs to out themselves? They're both hitting you on it.
I would be happy to, and I love all the attention, fellas. Thank you for that. I'll say this. What I said was that social media companies need to show us their algorithms. I also said there are millions of bots on social media right now. They're foreign, they're Chinese, they're Iranian. I will always fight for freedom of speech for Americans. We do not need freedom of speech for Russians and Iranians and Hamas. We need social media companies to go and fight back on all of these bots that are happening. That's what I said. As a mom, do I think that social media would be more civil if we went and had people's names next to that? Yes, I do think that, because I think we've got too much cyberbullying. I think we've got child pornography and all of those things. But having said that, I never said government should go and require anyone's name.
False. She said, I want your name.
She
As President of the United States, her first day in office, she said, one of the first things I'm going to do.
I said we were going to get the millions of bots.
She wants government ID to dox every American.
That's what she said. You can roll the tape. She said, I want your name. And that was going to be one of the first things she did in office. And then she got real serious blowback, and understandably so, because it'd be a massive expansion of government. We have anonymous speech. The Federalist Papers were written with anonymous writers. Jay, Madison, and Hamilton, they went under Publius. It's something that's important, and especially given how conservatives have been attacked and they've lost jobs and they've been canceled. You know the regime would use that to weaponize that against our own people.
Okay,
it was a
so
bad idea, and she should own up to it. Come on, now, what are you doing here?
15 seconds, and then there is the governor, former governor of New Jersey.
This cracks me up because Ron is so hypocritical, because he actually went and tried to push a law that would stop anonymous people from talking to the press, and went so far to say bloggers should have to register with the state if they're going to write about elected officials. It was in the, check your newspaper. It was absolutely there. I have never said government should
trample on your constitutional rights.
You can come back to it later.
This is more dangerous than the Democrats.
You're lying. This section's over. Okay. Governor Christie.
Really?
Just that
I'm usually not somebody who gets missed, but okay, let's go.
What's happening? Okay, I got you. Listen, you endorsed Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020. You gave him an A for his first term. Since then, however, you've turned on him, calling him a liar, a loser, a con man, and someone who cannot win. You've even said that you got into this race just to stop President Trump. His approval rating with Republicans is currently at 81%. Yours is at 25. Your best state is New Hampshire, and even there, 2/3 of GOP voters say they would be angry and disappointed if you won. Respectfully, Governor, you have not stopped Mr. Trump, and voters may wonder how you could possibly become the nominee of a party that does not appear to like you very much.
Holy shit. It's often very difficult.
Damn.
To be the only person on the stage who's telling the truth.
Oh,
and the only person who is taking on what needs to be taken on. I look at my watch now. We're 17 minutes into this debate. And except for your little speech in the beginning, we've had these three acting as if the race is between the four of us. The fifth guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here, he's the one who, as you just put it, is way ahead in the polls. And yet, I've got these three guys who are all seemingly to compete with, Voldemort, he who shall not be named. They don't want to talk about it. The fact is that when you go and you say the truth about somebody who is a dictator, a bully, who has taken shots at everybody, whether they've given him great service or not over time, who dares to disagree with him, then I understand why these three are timid to say anything about it. Maybe it's because they have future aspirations. Maybe those future aspirations are now, or maybe they're 4 years from now. But the fact of the matter is the truth needs to be told. And for us to go 17 minutes without discussing the guy who has all those gaudy numbers you talked about is ridiculous.
Is this going to be all? Let's make it about Trump, baby. Let's go.
He is unfit. This is a guy who just said this past week that he wants to use the Department of Justice to go after his enemies when he gets in there. I mean, the fact of the matter is, He is unfit to be president. And there is no bigger issue in this race, Megyn, than Donald Trump, and those numbers prove it.
Governor Christie, we will be addressing that issue of Donald Trump in just a moment, but I'd like to first get to some questions on Israel. Governor DeSantis, tonight as we speak, the war is back on in Gaza. Israeli tanks are on the move and have surrounded the home of the leader of Hamas. 8 Americans.
Doug says, for 20, I do not trust Vivek. I sent you a short from Doc Rich about Vivek. Could you maybe play that tonight? 100%, Doug, 100%.
To secure the release of those 8 American hostages. And would it include sending American forces into combat?
We have to look out for our people. When there are hostages, Commander-in-Chief, you have to do whatever you can to get them done. But the overall issue with this is this administration is trying to hobble Israel from being able to defend itself. They have a right to eliminate Hamas and win a total and complete victory so that they never have to deal with this again. Hamas wants nothing less than a second Holocaust. They would wipe off every single Jew off the map. They would destroy the state of Israel if we could. Joe Biden will say they support Israel, and then they do nothing but try to kneecap them every step of the way. You should not try to direct their war effort. We should work together with them so that they can bring Hamas to heel. Look, I served in Iraq back in the day. I'm the only one running for president that served in the military. I understand that part of the world. It's not the best part of the world. We do have troops there that Biden is leaving basically as sitting ducks. And you have the Iranians that are attacking these troops, and he's responding with basically pinpricks. If you harm an American service member, you're going to have hell to pay when I'm president. We are not going to let our troops be sitting ducks. We also need to look at what's the underlying problem here. Iran. Biden is doing nothing to bring Iran to account. You got to turn the screws on them. Don't let them have any oil revenue. The money they get, they send to Hamas, they send to Hezbollah, and they foment jihad throughout the Middle East. So Biden has empowered Iran just like he's empowered other adversaries. We stand with Israel. They're our best ally in the Middle East. We have a unique relationship with them, and you will see a strong relationship when I'm the president of the United States.
But would you send American troops?
Elizabeth, look, this is the problem with the first 3 debates. Ron gets asked a question, and he doesn't answer it. Your question was very specific. You said, would you send American troops as commander-in-chief? And he went on to this minute and 30-second hosanna about his knowledge of the military and what we need to do, and didn't answer your question. Look, when you're president of the United States, you're not going to have a choice whether to answer that question or not. Your generals, your Secretary of Defense, your Secretary of State, your National Security Advisor are going to present plans to you. They're going to look at.
Honestly, Chris Christie may, because he's so irrelevant, but he knows that he's got to throw bombs tonight. Chris Christie might make this very interesting.
Absolutely. If they had a plan which showed me that we could get them out safely, you're damn right I'd send the American Army in there to get our people home and get them home now. And I'll answer that question directly.
Thank you, Governor Christie. Mr. Ramaswamy, you have said it was irresponsible for Ambassador Haley to call Hamas's terrorist rampage an attack on America and for her to, quote, rabidly shout, finish them, end quote. The Hamas terror attack left dozens of Americans dead and was the deadliest attack on Jews since the Holocaust. Why wouldn't it be a good thing to finish Hamas?
Finish them was purposefully vague in a discussion that included Iran, which is what I objected to. And I think it's, as U.S. president, you have to be responsible. What happened to Israel was dead wrong. What Hamas did was medieval. It was subhuman. It was immoral. And we have to call that out for what it is on October 7th. But to say that that was an attack on America fails a basic test. I mean, Nick, if you can't tell the difference between where Israel is and the U.S. is on a map, I can have my 3-year-old son show you the difference. That is irresponsible because it has major consequences, because that doesn't leave room for what actually is an attack on America. So I believe I have the strongest pro-Israel position actually on the stage, even though it's a little bit different than the standard GOP talking points. And it is this. The founding vision of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, the George Washington figure of Israel, what did he believe? He believed that we don't want, as Israel, to depend on the fleeting sympathies of the West and have our hands tied. I think Israel has an absolute right to defend itself to the fullest, without the U.S., the UN, or the EU, or anybody else second-guessing their decisions, as the Biden administration, guess what, is now starting to do. I think that's a more deeply pro-Israel position than anybody else, and it keeps the actual lines of accountability clear because it is a pro-American position. And as leader of the United States of America, just as a father of 2 sons, my sole moral duty is to my family. As your next president, my sole moral duty is to you, the people of this country. That's how I'm going to lead. So I'll tell Bibi, you smoke the terrorists on your southern border, you go ahead and we're rooting for you. We're going to smoke the terrorists on our own southern border, and that's how I'm going to lead this country.
But Americans were killed in that attack. Americans were killed in that attack. And so if you looked at this terrorist attack and the number of Americans, this would be one of the top 10 terrorist attacks in American history. So our own people were killed in that attack. And I think it's absolutely appropriate to point that out and to say that we're in this together and we are going to work with Israel so that these people are brought to justice.
I agree with that.
Ambassador Haley, I'm coming to you. Iran is on the threshold of becoming a nuclear state. The Wall Street Journal reported that Iranian military leaders gave the green light for Hamas's attack on Israel. You said in last month's debate that, by contrast to the Biden administration's approach to Iran, you would, quote, punch them once and punch them hard. Were you saying that it's time to bomb Iran?
No, I was not saying it's time to bomb Iran, but I will tell you, I dealt with Iran every day when I was at the United Nations, and they only respond to strength. What they don't respond to is when you weaken the sanctions like they did on Iran that allowed China to send them billions to fill their proxies. What they don't respond to is when you give $6 billion for 5 hostages.
Dude, she is so unlikable. Like, she's incredibly unlikable. She's almost more unlikable. She might be the most unlikable person up on the stage because at least we know that Chris Christie, he's so fat and irrelevant that he's there just to troll. Obviously, Ron DeSantis is a backstabber. So she might be the most unlikable person on stage.
Syria and Iraq, where they're hitting our soldiers. That's what you do. And then that's when they'll back off. The problem is you have to see that all of these are related. If you look at the fact Russia was losing that war with Ukraine. Putin had hit rock bottom. They had raised the draft age to 65. He was getting drones and missiles, drones from Iran, missiles from North Korea. And so what happened? When he hit rock bottom, all of a sudden, his other friend, Iran, Hamas goes and invades Israel and butchers those people on Putin's birthday. There is no one happier right now than Putin because all of the attention America had on Ukraine suddenly went to Israel. And that's what they were hoping is going to happen. We need to make sure that we have full clarity that there is a reason, again, that Taiwanese want to help Ukrainians because they know if Ukraine wins, China won't invade Taiwan. There's a reason the Ukrainians want to help Israelis because they know that if Iran wins, Russia wins. These are all connected. But what wins all of that is a strong America, not a weak America. And that's what Joe Biden's given us.
I want to say one thing about the tie to Ukraine, if I may. So foreign policy experience is not the same as foreign policy wisdom. I want everybody at home to note that I was the first person to say we need a reasonable peace deal in Ukraine. Now a lot of the neocons are quietly coming along to that position, with the exceptions of Nikki Haley and Joe Biden, who still support this, what I believe is pointless war in Ukraine. And I think those with foreign policy experience, one thing that Joe Biden and Nikki Haley have in common is that neither of them could even state for you 3 provinces in eastern Ukraine that they want to send our troops to actually fight for. Look at that. This is what I want people to understand. These people have, I mean, she has no idea what the hell the names of those provinces are, but she wants to send our sons and daughters and our troops and our military equipment to go fight it. So reject this myth that they've been selling you that somebody had a cup of coffee stint at the UN and then makes $8 million after, has real foreign policy experience. It takes an outsider to see this through. Look at the blank expression. She doesn't know the names of the provinces that she wants to actually fight. And there's a couple of answers right there. The donors right there that are playing about the pocket.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say something here. You know, his reasonable peace deal in Ukraine, he made it clear. Give them all the land they've already stolen. Promise Putin you'll never put Ukraine in Russia, and then trust Putin not to have a relationship with China. Let me tell you something. That's no
That's
reasonable.
not my deal. That's not my deal,
yes,
Chris.
it's exactly what you
I'll
said. You do this at every debate.
I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. He's going for
the viral clip. Let's go.
You do this at every debate. You go out on the stump and you say something. All of us see it on video. We confront you on the debate stage. You say you didn't say it, and then you back away. And I want to
I'll
say
tell you
what?
exactly
No,
what I said, Chris.
I'm not done yet.
Well, this
now
is
look.
this is
and here's
nonsense. This man is spewing. This man is spewing nonsense.
Let me tell you something. This is the fourth debate. The fourth debate that you would be voted in the first 20 minutes as the most obnoxious blowhard in America. So shut up for a little while.
I'm going to respond to that.
I want to
Chris,
say
your
something.
version
We're going to let you respond to that. We're going to let you respond to that. Let him finish.
I want to say something else. We're now 25 minutes into this debate, and he has insulted Nikki Haley's basic intelligence, not her positions, her basic intelligence. She doesn't know regions. She wouldn't be able to find something on a map.
What is Ron
that his
DeSantis
3-year-old
doing?
could find. Look, if you want to disagree on issues, that's fine. And Nikki and I disagree on some issues. But I'll tell you this, I've known her for 12 years, which is longer than he's even started to vote in the Republican primary. And while we disagree about some issues and we disagree about who should be president of the United States, what we don't disagree on is this is a smart, accomplished woman, and you should stop insulting
So
her.
I'm going to take this. I'm going to take several.
He's sniffing. He's sniffing.
First of all, I think we just learned something from Chris Christie. We learned three things. We learned three things right there. First of all, Chris Christie also doesn't know what provinces in eastern Ukraine he actually wants to fight for. Chris, your version of foreign policy experience was closing a bridge from New Jersey to New York.
Yeah.
So do everybody a favor. Just walk yourself off that stage, enjoy a nice meal, and get the hell out of this race.
Let me tell you.
When it comes to Nikki, I think if you're going to actually send your sons and daughters to go die in somebody else's war, you better, excuse me, Chris, I'm speaking, and I'm not done yet.
I haven't
you had
heard
your
a time
chance,
when you aren't
and we're going to be
speaking.
done. So listen up to this. Is if these people want to send your sons and daughters to go die in Ukraine, they've been arguing for it for a year. $200 billion of our taxpayer money sent over. Neither of them could even name for you the provinces that they actually want to protect. And this is the people who have been touting their so-called foreign policy experience. It is intellectual fraud. These people are lying to you, the same people who told you about weapons and mass destruction in Iraq. To justify that invasion, didn't know the first thing about it, yet they sent thousands of our sons and daughters to go die. The same people who told you the same in Afghanistan.
Let's
where the
go.
Taliban
He's
is still in
cooking.
charge 20 years later. $7 trillion of our national debt due to these toxic neocons. You can put lipstick on a Dick Cheney. It is still a fascist neocon.
Thank
and
you,
you got to
Mr.
see that
Ramaswamy.
today.
Thank you,
It's
Mr.
Dick Cheney
Ramaswamy.
all over again in this party.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. 15 seconds.
Name the provinces. Neither of you could even
Mr.
name the first thing about Eastern
Ramaswamy.
Ukraine.
I think we've had enough of this.
Oh, look at Ron trying to get involved.
Crimea is the wrong
All right, the floor is Christie's.
All right, let me just say this. You know, this is the kind of thing where he talks about experience. You know, I was the U.S. attorney in New Jersey when the terrorist attacks were launched against the United States in 2001. I brought the first two cases in this country against terrorists who tried to attack us again. And I know about the threat of terrorism and bullying in this country and around the world. And at that time, he was learning about the provinces in Ukraine, sitting with his smart-ass mouth at Harvard. That's what was going on. And so the fact of the matter is, and back then he was a Democrat. So, you know, the fact is that
look at
all he knows
Ron.
how to do,
you were busy hugging
all
Barack
he knows
Obama.
how
Get him
to do,
elected.
Thank you.
all he knows how to do is insult good people who have committed their lives to public service and not say anything that moves the ball down the field for the United States.
All right, thank you, Governor Christie. We are going to take a quick break, cool things down a little bit. When we come back, we're going to tackle issues.
Okay, so I appreciate all you being here. They're on a quick break right now. Dude, Ron DeSantis, this is all Ron DeSantis is doing. He's just standing there like this. He's like, get some water, drink some water, goes like this, puts his hands like that, does his hands like this. Like that's all Ron DeSantis is doing. He looks so stupid. He looks so irrelevant. Watch him. Like all he's doing is anybody ever done that stood there for like a picture and you don't know what to do with your arms or your hands and it's always awkward? Ron DeSantis is so insecure that And what they've done is they basically, all of his handlers, they've gotten in his head. They're like, you're not polling very well. You need to look like a true alpha male on stage. You need to look tough, Ron. You need to look like you're in charge, Ron. And so he's sitting there just thinking about looking tough the whole time. He's like, I got to look presidential. What should I do with my arms? What should I do with my hands? And then he's like, he's standing there like he's just irrelevant while all these other people are fighting because they don't view him as a threat whatsoever. It's fantastic. It really is. So they are on a quick break right now. Lord Pterodax says, just ordered my 199 backpack. Can't wait to get it. Yes, in the pinned post right now, the limited edition 199 Geeks and Gamers backpack. From 221B Tactical. If you're interested, go ahead and get it. If we hit 199, we're going to give 10 away for free. So make sure you hit that link. And if we sell 199, which I don't know, we're probably at halfway there. So we're definitely going to have to move some more, but they'll be available for another week or two. And so they're available for pre-order right now. So people, some Norwegian guy says, D-Day Cobra, if Trump wasn't an option, who would you vote for? I would vote for Trump. I would write Trump's name in. I refuse to let these pathetic left-wing psychopaths and rhinos intimidate me in any way, shape, or form. I don't care what you do. I will write Donald Trump's name in if I have to. I refuse to vote for anyone other than Donald J. Trump, the greatest president of my lifetime and the only person that can actually save this country. So that is what I will do. They will not stop me in any way, shape, or form. The only way I won't vote for Trump is if I'm dead. That's the only way. They can't stop me, and they won't stop me. So I do like Vivek. I've been, I'm not saying I full on trust Vivek. Okay. But he's definitely the best of what's left, but ultimately I view him as a problem just as much as I view, the rest of the GOP a problem. They're all running against Trump. They're all running against Trump. And so, until we get Trump back in office, no one else is really relevant enough for me to worry about on that side. I just like roasting him and laughing at him. And to be clear, when I call Chris Christie fat, what I'm trying to say is that he's a fat, disgusting tub of lard, a disgusting piece of shit human being, and I have no respect for him whatsoever, just to clarify. If I'm dead, I'll vote for Biden. That's true. If I'm dead, that means I'll vote for Biden. So we all know how that goes. But I appreciate all of you being here. Yes, definitely fat shaming. I believe we need to do more fat shaming. It's good. It's good. Can you clarify a little more? Dude, when Vivek told him to go have a meal. Because right now, what Chris Christie's doing, Chris Christie is trying to get social media attention with everything he says right now. It's the only thing that he can do to get any relevancy, is to say social media things that can be clipped out and put on Twitter. That's what he's trying to do. Vivek has done a fantastic job of doing that, but it comes natural to him. Nikki Haley, she's just happy that she's in second place on a lot of the polls. And Ron DeSantis, he's just clueless at this point in time. DeSantis is just absolutely clueless. So it's really funny to watch DeSantis squirm and figure out what to do with his hands.
From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, we are now going to go to the crisis on the southern border. Polls show immigration and the crisis are among the most pressing issues for Republican voters right now. Both the issue of migrants crossing illegally into our country and the separate issue of fentanyl being smuggled in mostly through legal ports of entry. All year, News Nation has been at the border documenting the crisis. In 2023 alone, Border Patrol encountered a record 2.4 million migrants. All four of you have talked tough. The question now is, how realistic is the talk? So, Governor DeSantis, I'd like to start with you. You have pledged to send the military to the southern border on day one of your administration with orders to shoot, quote, stone cold dead anyone illegally entering with a backpack that you believe contains fentanyl. Critics have called this a shoot first, ask questions later policy that would amount to extrajudicial killing. You are a former military lawyer. Why do you think this idea of yours would be legal?
The drug cartels are invading our country and they are killing our citizens by the tens of thousands every year. We had a situation in Florida. There was an 18-month-old baby that was crawling on the floor of an Airbnb rental. There was fentanyl residue on the carpet and the baby died. Is this acceptable in this country? I know the elites in DC, they don't care. They don't care that fentanyl's ravaging your community. They don't care that illegal aliens are ravaging our community and overwhelming our community. The commander-in-chief not only has a right, you have a responsibility to fight back against these people.
And does that mean shooting first?
It means you're gonna categorize them as foreign terrorist
Answer
organizations,
it, Ronnie.
And we will identify just like we would anywhere. When I was in Iraq, the Al Qaeda wasn't wearing a uniform. You'd see anyone walking down the street, they all had man dresses on. You didn't know if someone had a bomb, an IED attached or not. And so you had to make a judgment based on intelligence, based on positive identification. But we're going to be able to get the intelligence on these cartel people. And here's the thing. If we had a wall across the southern border, which I support, this would not have happened. We need to build a wall across the southern border. I'll get it done, and Mexico is supposed to pay for it. Remember, here's how you do that. I am going to have fees on remittances from foreign workers when they send the money back to foreign countries. We're going to tax it, and we're going to build a wall with that. So yes, you should have had that, but we don't have it. I'm going to build it, but we have to lean in on this problem. I am not going to sit there and allow mothers to lose more kids because of fentanyl overdose. I am not going to sit there and let sex trafficking go unabated or human trafficking go unabated. There's going to be a new sheriff in town, and these drug cartels better buckle up.
Thank you. Ambassador
Practice that in his mirror.
You have pledged to catch and deport all migrants who are here in this country illegally. But then you said in Londonderry, New Hampshire last month that you will not deport those who are working and paying taxes rather than feeding off the system. Which is it?
So first of all, what I said is all of the 7 or 8 million illegals that have come under Biden's watch absolutely have to go back. We have to stop the incentive of what's bringing them over here in the first place. Biden just gave temporary protective status to 500,000 Venezuelans. That's 500,000 Social Security cards. That's 500,000 driver's licenses. And I know from my time at the United Nations, the first thing they do is pick up the phone and said, we came over, come on over. And that's what sends more. You have to go and deport these people so they know it can't happen again. For those that have been here longer than that, we've got to start seeing who is it, how long have they been here, have they been vetted, have they paid taxes, have they been working, and figure out who else is out there. But what I know is my parents came here legally. They put in the time, they put in the price. They are offended by those that are coming illegally. We can't let them skip the line. But when you talk about fentanyl like you did before, let's look at something else. Yes, I think we should send special operations over and take out the cartels. I think we should do a remain in Mexico policy so they never step foot in U.S. soil in the first place. But look at where fentanyl came from. Let's go to the heart of the matter. It came from China. That's why we need to end all normal trade relations with China until they stop murdering Americans with fentanyl. I promise you, they need our economy. They will immediately stop that. But this is where Trump went wrong. Trump was good on trade, but that's all he was with China, because here he allowed fentanyl to continue to come over. He continued to allow them to he would give them technology that would build up their military and hurt us. He allowed the Chinese infiltration for them to buy up farmland, to put money in our universities, and to continue to do things that were harmful for America. We now have a spy base in Cuba and police stations, and Trump didn't do anything about it.
Thank you. China, though, I mean, listen, this is rich, because when she was governor of South Carolina, she was the #1 ranked governor of bringing the CCP into her state. She wrote a love letter to the Chinese ambassador saying how great a friend China is. You can look at it. We put it on our website, rondesantis.com. There's also a video of her as governor standing in front of a Chinese flag with a Chinese business saying that she now works for them, talking about this Chinese company. So she's been very weak on China. Now, here's the problem. The rhetoric is different, but her donors, these Wall Street liberal donors, they make money in China. They are not going to let her be tough on China, and she will cave to the donors. She will not stand up for you.
15 seconds, Ambassador.
First of all, he's mad because those Wall Street donors used to support him and now they support me. The second thing is he has a company, a Chinese company, UGAS, that he just did a rally there last year. They have given you $340,000 in campaign
It's an
donations
American company.
between them and their employees. They are tied to
Look
the
at Ron.
Communist
Look at
Party.
Ron's hands.
Jinko
Look at his
Solar
hands.
is another one. They went and expanded. You gave $2 million in subsidies.
I
and
banned
they
China
took-
from buying land in the state of
And the
Florida.
Department of
I
Homeland-
ejected the Confucius Institute. Nikki Haley brought Confucius Institutes to the universities in South Carolina.
That is not
I
true.
ejected them. So I have a record of standing up and do what's right. And here's the thing.
You have a record of lying.
She's trying to say things like that. Even the liberal media groups that usually if I say the sky is blue, they'll fact check me and say that's wrong. They looked at her charges. They said it was totally false, that they could not find one instance of me recruiting a Chinese business coming to Florida. You know why? Because we never recruited any Chinese businesses to the state of Florida.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's so proud of
Mr.
himself.
Ramaswamy, over the past year, fentanyl has killed more than 75,000 Americans, 1,000 of them right here in Alabama. You have vowed to use the military to, quote, annihilate drug labs inside Mexico, something the president of Mexico said would be a hostile act. But fentanyl can easily be made anywhere, and labs that are shut down can easily and quickly be replaced. Are your tough enforcement policies offering false hope to a country racked by addiction?
To the contrary, I don't think it's going to have to come to that if we deal with the actual demand side problem that we also have in this country. I mean, the easy part is talking about how we're going to use our military to secure the border. I will, and I believe that everybody else wants to do the same thing. But the harder part is dealing with the crisis of purpose and meaning, the mental health epidemic raging across this country like wildfire. And there's a reason why after the opioid crisis, you see fentanyl. And even after we get fentanyl, and we are going to be sure to make sure we do it, this one is worse for many reasons. They're illegally lacing it into pharmaceuticals, so it's more dangerous. But we're deluding ourselves. The real false promise here is thinking that we're going to have dealt with that underlying mental health epidemic in this country by just dealing with the demand side of it. But I want to get back to this issue of the root cause, because a lot of these are coming from labs in Wuhan, China, of all places. Drug materials that are going to the Mexican drug cartels that they're pumping across that southern border like a modern opium war. I think it is going to take a U.S. president that's going to have a very different conversation with Xi Jinping than what Joe Biden just had in California. I will tell Xi Jinping, you will not only not buy land in this country or donate to universities in this country, U.S. businesses won't expand into the Chinese market until they're playing by the same set of rules. And the same country that's putting fentanyl into illegal pharmaceuticals in Mexico, it's no coincidence, is the exact same country that also unleashed hell on the world with the COVID-19 pandemic. We also have to hold them accountable with every financial lever that we have available. That is what it actually means to stand with a spine. And you mark my words, if we're willing to stand with the spine, China will absolutely have to fold because they're in a tougher spot than we are. And then we're back to playing by the same set of rules.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. Thank you. Let's talk about the economy. Ambassador Haley, homeownership has always been part of the American dream, but it's increasingly out of reach for younger Americans. This year, mortgage rates reached 30-year highs. Home prices have risen $190,000 over the past decade. Is this the free market at work? Or should the federal government do something to make homes more affordable?
Well, first of all, I mean, you're exactly right. My daughter just got married, and I saw how hard it was for her and her husband to buy a home. Right now, the average homeowner in America is 49 years old. You've got young people everywhere. That used to be the American dream, and now it's out of reach. But you look at what happened. You first of all look at what the Fed did. The Fed did a terrible job when they allowed all of that money to go through. You saw the Treasury bond rates go up. That affected mortgage rates.
Can somebody bring up the fact that how everything was under Trump versus how it is now and why we wouldn't want it how it was under Trump? Can somebody bring that up?
Continued to be there. That's caused the rate to go up. And then you've got insurances that have gone up. And so what you have is a lot of younger people who, one, can't afford a home, but two, the banks aren't lending them any money. They've made the regulations so hard that they don't want to give loans on mortgages anymore. So what we have to do is we have to open it up. We have to, one, grow our economy so that people have more money in their pockets. We've got to look at the supply chain and make sure that we are funneling that so that builders don't have to sit there and go overseas to find things. And then we need to make sure that we really stop paying down this debt, make sure that we stop the borrowing, stop the spending. I'll veto any spending bill that doesn't take us back to pre-COVID levels, because our kids are not going to forgive us for all the spending that happened. And as much as everybody wants to talk about how Donald Trump had a good economy, $9 trillion in debt, he did just in 4 years. And we're all paying the price of that, including those mortgage prices.
We're going to come back to President Trump, I promise. Governor DeSantis, the latest News Nation Decision Desk poll found that inflation tops the worries of American voters. 61% say they're very concerned, and the working class is hardest hit. Economists say this was fueled by a glut of federal spending. The Biden administration has added $6 trillion to the national debt so far, but President Trump wasn't exactly a penny pincher. His administration added $7.8 trillion. Do Republicans, including President Trump, share the blame for inflation? And what concrete steps would a President DeSantis take to help Americans make ends meet?
The borrowing, printing, and spending of money was both parties in Washington, D.C. That's just a fact. These Republicans in Washington have spent. It's driven your prices higher, and it's driven your interest rates to the point where you can't afford. I met a young fella in Iowa. He had graduated college a couple years ago, and he's like, Governor, I don't have a chance. I'm gainfully employed. He's like, I have no chance to afford a home and start a family. That is taking the American dream away from people. So we're going to get the inflation down. We're going to get the interest rates down. We are going to reduce spending, and I will be willing to veto, and I vetoed a lot as governor of Florida, and we'll do that. We're also going to open up all of our domestic energy for production, lower your gas prices, lower the price of fuel. That's going to help the economy. It also help jobs, and we'll do it. But, you know, another thing that's burdening young people are these student loans. Now, I don't support having a truck driver having to pay a student loan for someone that got a degree in gender studies. That is wrong. We should not have taxpayers do that. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to get to the root cause of the problem. These student loans are going to be backed by the universities because they need to have an incentive to produce gainful employment for people. They should not be indulging in ideological studies. They should be focusing on things that work. And we're going to take some of this money and we're going to move it to actual vocational training. In Florida, we doubled apprenticeships. We have more truck drivers. These are in-demand skills. Don't let anybody tell you that the only way you can be successful is through a 4-year brick and ivy degree. That's one way you can be. It's not the only way. And we're going to fix that problem in the United States of America.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you praised cryptocurrency like Bitcoin as an opt-out from our, quote, broken financial architecture, and you oppose efforts to regulate it. The head of the largest international crypto exchange just pleaded guilty to allowing his platform to launder money for terrorists, including Hamas. You say your cryptocurrency plan will, quote, ensure economic freedom for Americans, end quote. Won't it also ensure economic freedom for fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists?
Look, fraudsters, criminals, and terrorists have been defrauding people for a long time. Our regulations need to catch up with the current moment. The fact that SBF was able to do what he did at FTX shows that whatever they have as the current framework isn't working. And I think it is nothing short of embarrassing that Gary Gensler, the current leader of the SEC, in front of Congress, could not even say whether Ethereum counted as a regulated security or not. And so I think that this is just another example of the administrative state gone too far. Here's the dirty little secret in American politics today. The people who we elect to run the government are not the ones who are even actually that are writing regulations that Congress never gave them the authority to write. And the good news is a U.S. president can absolutely fix that. That takes a U.S. president with a spine. So what I've said is in my administration, by the end of year one, we will have a 75% reduction in the number of federal bureaucrats. We will shut down government agencies that should not exist. We will rescind any regulation that fails the test of West Virginia versus EPA, which is the most important Supreme Court case of our lifetime, that said if Congress didn't delegate that to an administrative agency, then it's unconstitutional. These are seismic changes. These are big changes that the next president can deliver without asking Congress for permission or for forgiveness. And I want people to understand that distinction, because people have been sold myths by politicians for a long time saying, I'm going to work with Congress to do this or that. Much of what you've heard on the stage from the other politicians fit that description. They need Congress. The things that I'm promising you, This is what the leader of the executive branch gets to do under Article 2 of the Constitution.
Thank you, sir.
Cut down the bureaucracy. That's how we grow our economy and put the Federal Reserve in its place. This is part of the crypto discussion.
No.
90%
Mr.
headcount reduction at the Fed.
You're out of time. 15 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
So one of the dangers that we're going to face, Biden wants, is a central bank digital currency. They want to get rid of cash, crypto. They want to force you to do that. They'll take away your privacy. They will absolutely regulate your purchases. On day one as president, we take the idea of central bank digital currency and we throw it in the trash can. It'll be dead on arrival.
Gotta get a break. I have a whole second hour to get to. It's exciting. And when we come back, we got a big subject. Huge, might even say, Donald Trump.
Okay, so right now, Chris Christie, did he even talk? Did Chris Christie even talk that round? I don't think they even asked him anything at all. He just stood over there thinking about cheeseburgers and pizza, which, to be fair, that's a good thing to think about. Yeah, so Trump actually did put this out on True Social really quick. Let me show you guys this right here on True Social. Here it goes. Trump's lead here. Trump's lead in the national GOP race on August 23rd, first day of the debate, 41 points. Trump's lead today, 48 points. So Trump has won every single debate, and his numbers have gone up since the first debate, and he has not shown up to any of them. That's the power of the GOAT, Donald J. Trump. So he's going to win again tonight, and now he's going to be the topic of discussion. So that's going to be pretty fantastic. Xanaximus, in my opinion, the one up there with the most respect for me right now. Christie's podium. Seriously, was he out of breath just by walking out on stage? How long has he been leaning on it? All right, that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there, Xanaximus. Oh my gosh. It is so bad to watch Chris Christie. And he's been leaning on that podium the whole time. So shout out to the podium. Shout out to the podium indeed. Let me see if I can share. Bam. All right. So there we go. So we're waiting for the commercial break to end. Again, let me do my plug really quick. If you want to join in and get the 221B Tactical 199 backpack, Geeks and Gamers limited edition, click the pinned post right there by Eric K. They are on pre-order. It's a tactical bag, very good quality. We are doing pre-orders right now. They're going to be available for about another week, 10 days tops, and then we will get them shipped out. If we hit 199, if we sell 199 of them, we will give 10 away to the chat. So we shall see if we can hit that number. And I do appreciate all of you. We have sold, I think we're probably around 100. I don't know for sure. I don't know what the latest numbers are. But that's pretty cool that we've sold like 100 of those so far. And hopefully we can get that 199, and we will see. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier gifting a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. I know this isn't as interactive as a lot of my streams, but I will catch up with everything, and we will talk. I still want to talk about The Rock and Taylor Swift and how I think that the Democrats are utilizing that against Trump right now, because everything else they've done is fallen flat. And now you have Taylor Swift being named the Time Person of the Year. And it really does seem like the mainstream media is trying to orchestrate this Taylor Swift popularity because she is obviously a Trump hater. She said as much. She's basically trying to mobilize more voters. Then you have The Rock meeting with military Pentagon officials. So they're panicking right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Gavin Newsom kind of got embarrassed with Ron DeSantis in that debate the other night. I think that has something to do with it. Buford T. Justice just dropped 5 gifted memberships. Let's go. A lot of gifted memberships. If you're new to the channel, we have a very, very generous chat here. And you might get gifted a membership throughout the night. We have a very generous chat here. The Snake Pit is very generous. And so, you never know. You never know. Make sure you smash that melee button. Vera Nid has dropped 5 gifted memberships. Let's go. Look at that, man. That chat's moving fast. We love when the chat moves fast. We love when you interact here. We love when people let them know that you're here. Lord Botha drops a D-Day Cobra membership. Man, look at that. Dermot's here. Good old Dermot. Oh, boy. Dermot, you sweet, sweet child, you. Mental illness is a thing, and Dermot is a classic example of that. Carol says, how much is the membership? They're $4.99, I think. $4.99. All right, here we go.
Welcome back, everyone. So you've all spent a lot of time criticizing each other on the stage, as Governor Christie pointed out, and less so for most of you on the front runner in this race, Donald Trump. We invited him to come tonight, as you know, but he declined to come. But we'd like to ask you a couple questions about him now. Ambassador Haley, former President Trump recently promised, if he's reelected, to bring back and expand his program restricting immigration from Muslim countries. Here he is in Iowa on October 16th.
No longer will we allow dangerous lunatics, haters, bigots, and maniacs to get residency in our country. We're not going to let them stay here. If you empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. You're just disqualified.
Ambassador Haley, do you support President Trump's plan for ideological screening?
Well, I don't think that you have a straight up Muslim ban as much as you look at the countries that have terrorist activity that want to hurt Americans. You can ban those people from those countries. That's the way we should look at it, is which countries are a threat to us. You look at what came across the southern border. What worries me the most are those that came from Iran, from Yemen, from Lebanon, those areas where they say death to America. That's where you want to be careful. It's not about a religion. It's about a fact that certain countries are dangerous and are threats to us. A president has one job, and that's to keep Americans safe. And that's what we've got to do, is make sure that we have good national security in that process. And that's the way you should look at it, is where the terrorist threats are, how we're going to deal with it, and what we're doing about it. And the biggest threat we have right now is communist China. But you have to also look at what Iran and Russia are doing as well. And we need to be paying attention to that. That's why we have to focus on things like cyber, on space, on artificial intelligence, and not just the regular things that we've always focused on.
It's not just terrorism, though. That's important. But look what's happened in Europe. You have more anti-Semitism in Germany than at any time since Adolf Hitler. Why? Because they imported mass numbers of people who reject their culture. Europe is committing suicide with the mass migration, and it's illegal and legal. Nikki Haley said the other day there should be no limits on legal immigration, and that corporate CEOs should set the policy on that. There needs to be limits on immigration, and we should not be importing people from cultures that are hostile. So, for example, I said with the Gaza, you had some of the squad wanted to import 300,000 people from the Gaza Strip. I said, no, we're not taking anyone from Gaza, because of the anti-Semitism and because they reject American culture. So we've got to get smart about this. We cannot let the United States be like Europe.
So there's lower-hanging fruit here, if I may just hit this point, because it relates to what they just said. There are things that the government can do right now that nobody's talking about amongst the professional politicians in this race. What about all of the illegals who are already here? Here's the answer. There's 287G in the law. That is a provision that already allows ICE agents to deputize or allow local law enforcement to enforce those ICE warrants. And it shocks me that nobody in the Republican Party is talking about it, because there are 1 million then officials, law enforcement officials in this country. And against that backdrop, we absolutely have the ability to deport anybody who's in this country illegally.
Thank you,
we
Mr.
need to be talking about
Ramaswamy.
more in this country.
Thank you. Governor Christie.
I actually did that as governor of South Carolina.
Governor Christie asked last night in Iowa whether he would be a dictator if he wins a second term in office. Donald Trump quipped, no, quote, except for day one, promising to seal the southern border. He has also pledged to begin the largest deportation operation in American history, saying that migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. He has pledged to round up and expel an estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. What do you make of that plan?
I think it's completely predictable. I mean, look, he's made it very clear. There's no mystery to what he wants to do. He started off his campaign by saying, I am your retribution.
Damn right.
8 years ago, he said, I am your voice.
And he was.
This is an angry, bitter man who now wants to be back as president because he wants to exact retribution on anyone
Damn right.
who has disagreed with him.
Yeah.
Anyone who has tried to hold him to account
for
his own conduct. And every one of these policies that he's talking about are about pursuing a plan of retribution. And yet, at the first debate, my three colleagues on this stage, when asked if he would be convicted of federal felonies, would they still support him, raise their hand, looked into the camera, and let everybody know that they would still support him, even if convicted of federal felonies. Federal felonies, by the way. Federal felonies which involve our election process, federal felonies which involve the most sensitive of our governmental secrets, federal felonies where he instructed others to commit crimes, folks who are now agreeing to go to jail because of what they did in his name. So do I think he was kidding when he said he was a dictator? All you have to do is look at the history. And that's why failing to speak out against him, making excuses for him, pretending that somehow he's a victim, empowers him. You want to know why those poll numbers are where they are? Because folks like these three guys on the stage make it seem like his conduct is acceptable. Let me make it clear.
Well, is it going to work? Come on.
His conduct is unacceptable. He's unfit. And be careful of what you're going to get. If you ever got another Donald Trump term, he's letting you know, I am your retribution. He will only be, Elizabeth, he will only be his own retribution. He doesn't care for the American people. It's Donald Trump first.
Thank you, Governor Christie. Governor DeSantis. Governor DeSantis.
Boo his ass out of there.
Thank you. Governor DeSantis. Donald Trump would be older on day one of his second presidency than Joe Biden was on day one of his first. You have said Trump is not the same man he was when he ran in 2016. Your campaign is running ads showing Trump confused. And you have said he has, quote, lost the zip on his fastball. You seem to be saying Donald Trump is no longer mentally fit to be president. Is that what you think?
Look, he is showing, Father Time is undefeated. The idea that we're going to put someone up there that's almost 80 and there's going to be no effects from that, we all know that that's not true. And so we have an opportunity to do a next generation of leaders and really be able to move this country forward. We also need a president that can serve 2 terms. I don't think Donald Trump, I think he's going to have, I don't think he'd be able to get elected. The Democrats want him to be the nominee. We see that. They are going to turn the screws the minute, if he got the nomination,
but do you think
you're going to see it.
Answer
I
the
think
question.
we need to have somebody younger. I think when you get up to 80, I don't think it's a job for that. But let me just respond to some of the things there. Look, the media is making a big deal about what he said about some of these comments. I would just remind people, that is not how he governed. He didn't even fire Dr. Fauci. He didn't fire Christopher Wray. He didn't clean up the swamp. He said he was going to drain it. He did not drain it. He said he was going to build a wall and have Mexico pay for it. We don't have the wall. He did say in 2016 he'd have the largest deportation program in history. He deported less than Barack Obama did when Barack Obama was president. So some of these policies he ran on in 16, I was cheering him on then, but he didn't deliver it. Here's what I can promise people. 100% of the things I promised as governor, I delivered on those promises. I beat the left time and time again, and that's what I'll do for you as president. We got to start winning again as a party.
You
win the election.
You literally abandoned your job as governor, you fucking liar. I live in the state of Florida. You abandoned your job as governor. Abandoned.
Now, Chris, you had your chance to wax eloquent on Donald Trump. You've been doing it all this whole race.
Why doesn't he just answer the question? The question was very direct. Is he fit to be president or isn't he? The rest of the speech is interesting, but completely non-responsive. And if we were in a courtroom, they'd strike the answer and say, Governor DeSantis.
No, they would. They would say that.
You're a smart man. No, they would.
No, they wouldn't.
They would
Chris.
strike the answer because you're not answering
you
it.
Just
is he
don't
fit?
like. You have your. You have
no,
your thing.
Is he
you
fit
have
or isn't
your
he?
thing.
No, I don't my thing.
We don't.
He's the thing. Is he fit or
want
isn't
to
he?
do
You're talking about him being 80 years old.
It doesn't mean that somebody couldn't get elected. That's
Governor
up to the people.
Governor DeSantis, let him
we have an opportunity to do somebody who is in
Ron,
I think we have an opportunity to do somebody who is in the prime of their life. We don't have to worry about all this stuff with positive. We can get it done, and we'll do it.
I'm going to come to you. Finish.
Look, Father Time is undefeated.
Oh,
I don't know how he would score on a test, but I know this. We have an opportunity to nominate someone and elect someone for 2 terms who's going to be spitting nails on day one and for 8 years
So you
deliver
do
you
think he's
big
fit?
result.
You
We
do
should
think.
not nominate somebody
He won't answer.
who's almost 80 years
won't
old.
answer.
He's afraid to answer.
No, I'm not.
You have to either you're afraid or you're not listening.
No, it's not.
There's a
You
simple
don't wanna
question.
hear the
Is he
answer.
fit?
Because you have- I know you have the
Hey,
vendetta
nobody
against
can hear
Ron.
this.
Let him
No one can
fucking
hear you. I
fight.
can't hear you. You finish, and
Look,
then you get
let him
back.
fight.
All right, look, I'm a simple guy. Okay, I hear the question and I answer it. Is he fit or isn't he? I'll concede you're fit, Ron. You're a new generation. You're 44 years old. I wish I was still 44 years old. Okay?
45.
So, well, congratulations. I'd still take 45. Is he fit or isn't he? And this is the problem with my three colleagues. They're afraid to offend. And let me tell you something. If you're afraid to offend Donald Trump, then what are you going to do when you sit across from President Xi, you sit across from the Ayatollah, you sit across from Putin? You have to be willing to offend with the truth and answer the question. Fit or unfit?
Okay, listen.
Fit or
I
unfit?
promised Ron DeSantis a minute and not a full minute.
It is not about
You can weigh in
offending.
and then we're moving
It's
on.
about pointing out, do you want to elect somebody who will be older than Biden was when he went in
God.
2021?
He can't answer.
I don't
He
think
can't.
he's as bad as Biden was at all. But I do think that over a 4-year period, it is not a job for somebody that's pushing 80. We need somebody that's younger. We need somebody that's going to be able to go in there and clean house on day one and do it for 2 terms. And I'll be able to
Here's
do
my
that.
issue with all 3 of my other colleagues on this debate stage, is all 3 of them have been licking Donald Trump's boots for years for money and endorsements. Ron DeSantis, you've been a great governor, but you would have never been one without actually begging Donald Trump for that endorsement.
And you attacked
Same
him
thing
in
for
your
Nikki
book a
Haley.
year ago.
Same thing with Chris Christie as a lobbyist, begging them for COVID money for his special interests in New Jersey, prepping him for the debates last time around. These people are now Monday morning quarterbacking some decision he made. I think the real enemy is not Donald Trump. It's not even Joe Biden. It is the deep state that at least Donald Trump attempted to take on. And if you want somebody who's going to speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. Why am I the only person on the stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11? That the Great Replacement theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform? That the 2020 election was indeed stolen by big tech, that the 2016 election, the one that Trump won for sure, was also one that was stolen from him by the national security establishment that actually put up the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that they knew was false.
Damn.
There's a reason why I'm the only person
That'll
on
do
the
it,
stage
sir.
who can say these things. That's what it's going to take, not people who are licking his boots one time and now Monday morning quarterbacking and criticizing him when it's convenient.
Governor Christie. You do not favor a ban on trans medical treatments for minors, saying it's a parental rights issue. The surgeries done on minors involve cutting off body parts at a time when these kids cannot even legally smoke a cigarette. Kids who go from puberty blockers to cross-sex hormones are at a much greater likelihood of winding up sterile. How is it that you think a parent should be able to okay these surgeries, never mind the sterilization of a child? And aren't you way too out of step on this issue to be the Republican nominee?
No, I'm not. Because Republicans believe in less government, not more. In less involvement with government, not more in government involvement in people's lives. And you know what, Megan? I trust parents. And we're out there saying that we should empower parents in education. We should empower parents to make more decisions about where their kids go to school. I agree. We should empower parents to be teaching the values that they believe in their homes without the government telling them what those values should be. And yet we want to take other parental rights away. I'm sorry. As a father of 4, I believe there is no one who loves my children more than me. There's no one who loves my children more than my wife. There's no one who cares more about their success and health in life than we do. Not some government bureaucrat, you look at these jokers down in Congress. It takes them 3 weeks to pick a speaker, and up until 2 days.
There's no one that loves cheeseburgers. We know that, Chris Christie. We get it, okay? You're fat. You love cheeseburgers. Nobody loves it more than you. No one really cares unless you're throwing bombs. So start throwing bombs or shut up.
Those decisions for Joe Biden to make those decisions for me and for my wife. Let me just say this. This is not something I favor. I think it's a very, very dangerous thing to do. But that's my opinion as a parent, Megan. And I get to make the decisions about my children, not anybody else. And every parent out there who's watching tonight, you start to turn over just a little bit of this authority, the authority they're going to take from you next, you're not going to like. I'll stand up for parents each and every time.
So there are laws banning smoking or drinking by a certain age.
Let me tell you something. I have a follow-up question for him, and you guys are going to get to weigh in. Okay? Here's my follow-up question. You talk about parental rights. Let's talk about them. When you were governor in 2017, you signed a law that required new guidelines for schools dealing with transgender students. Those guidelines required schools to accept a child's preferred gender identity, even if the minor's parents objected.
Not true.
And it said that there is no duty for schools to notify parents if their son or daughter changes their gender identity, allowing this serious issue to remain a secret between the school and a child. How is any of that pro-parental rights?
By the way, that's simply not true.
You're doing what you accuse me of, Chris. It is absolutely true.
Simply not true. That's simply not true. That law was put into effect in 2018 and regulated in 2018 after I was out of office, Megan. No, we did not, Megan. We did not issue those guidelines, and you're wrong about that. Simply wrong. I have stood up each and every time.
So I think if this is one issue that's disqualifying, it's this one.
I stood up every single time for parents to be able to make the decisions for their minor children.
But parents,
every single time, parents should make those decisions. And by the way, you know what? Every once in a while, parents are going to make decisions that we disagree with. But the minute you start to take those rights away from parents, you don't know that slippery slope, what rights are going to be taken away next, and what's going to be focused on you.
As a parent, you do not have the right to abuse your kids. This is cutting off their genitals.
That's a good answer.
This is mutilating these minors. These are irreversible procedures.
That's a good answer.
And this is something that other countries in Europe, like Sweden, once they started doing it, they saw it did incalculable damage. They've shut it down. I signed legislation in Florida banning the mutilation of minors because it is wrong. We cannot allow this to happen in this country. And I know Chris disagrees with me, and I think he has an honest position. Nikki disagrees with me. She opposes the bill that we did to ban that. She said law shouldn't get involved with it. You said the law shouldn't get involved with it. She also, though, I think, and this flows from what she did as governor of South Carolina, they had a bill to try to say that men shouldn't go into girls' bathrooms. And she killed that bill, and she bragged that she killed that bill. Even to this day, she bragged that. I don't think men should be going into little girls' bathrooms. I think it's wrong, and I think we have every right to protect them from that.
Good answer.
I am going to come to you. I promise to have seconds. Go quickly.
I think the North Star here is transgenderism is a mental health disorder. We don't let you smoke a cigarette by the age of 18. We don't let you have an addictive drink of alcohol by the age of 21. And I just challenge Ron DeSantis to go one step further and support what I think is clearly within the authority to do, using federal funds just like Reagan did in '84 for the Highway Act that said the minimum drinking age needs to be 21. We can do the same thing when it comes to banning genital mutilation or chemical castration. I know Ron's been unclear about that on the federal level. I'm crystal clear. That's where I stand.
Got it.
That's a mental health disorder. That's where we need to be at.
Go ahead.
So first of all, Ron has continued to lie because he's losing.
No, it's not a lie.
You are lying.
You said it on tape.
So first of all, I will say that when I was governor, 10 years ago, when the bathroom situation came up, we had maybe a handful of kids that were dealing with an issue. And I said, we don't need to bring government into this, but boys go into boys' bathrooms, girls go into girls' bathrooms. And if anyone else has an issue, they use a private bathroom. Now, 10 years later, we see that this issue has exploded. And this shows how hypocritical Ron continues to be. When he was running for governor and they asked him about that, he said he didn't think bathroom bills were a good use of his time. You can go look that up.
I signed a bathroom bill in Florida, so that's obviously not true.
So the idea that you would say that I was against
it, you
that.
didn't. You killed it. I signed it. I stood up for little girls. you didn't do it. And there was this going on. I was actually just in South Carolina. Some of the legislators told me at the time there were boys going into the girls. That's the whole reason why they did it.
No.
And so they say when she does that explanation that doesn't hold water. And this is the upstate of South.
Everybody else saw it too. Ron had a good response, and then he just canceled it out with that cringy laugh. Like, holy shit, Ron. Take the dub, but don't turn it into a L.
Carolinians never allowed that to happen, and we did not have that issue at the time. What I have always said is boys go into a boys' bathroom, girls go into a girls' bathroom. But hold on one second. I also say that biological boys shouldn't be playing in girls' sports, and I will do everything I can to stop that because it's the women's issue of our time.
This is nice legislation to protect women's sports. I actually get this stuff done.
You got it. Thank you, guys. We're going to move on. Mr. Ramaswamy, when discussing your Hindu faith in September, you seem to take a shot at Ambassador Haley, who is also Indian American and who converted to Christianity as an adult. You said, an easy thing for me to do, being a politician, is to shorten my name, profess to be a Christian, and then run. Make Vivek Vicky or whatever, end quote. Are you questioning Nikki Haley's Christian convictions? And why has your campaign made a point of referring to Ambassador Haley by her given first name, Nimarata, even though she has gone by Nikki for her whole life?
Well, my whole deal is if Nikki Haley, of all people, should know how to pronounce my name correctly, the rest of the news media can learn it. My deal is I'll call her Nikki when she can say my own name right. That's our little fun side bet there. Here's what I will say is deeper. I don't question her faith, but I question her authenticity. And I think that's deeper here. We were just talking about the trans issue. This is a symptom of a deeper cancer in American life. Identity politics. This new religion that says your race, your gender, and your sexuality are your identity. It is anti-American. It is meritocratic. It's anti-meritocratic, and it is dividing this country to a breaking point. And I've spoken about this to the left. My books are all about this. I've preached this to the left, but it's even worse when Republicans try to play the same game. We're talking about that trans issue. And Nikki Haley's campaign launch video sounded like a woke Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light ad talking about how she would kick in heels. At the first debate, she said that only a woman can get this job done. That's what she said.
That was a little cringe, and clearly you practiced that one.
5 failed years of leadership of this party, and criticized Nikki for her corrupt foreign dealings as a military contractor. She said that I have a woman problem. Nikki, I don't have a woman problem. You have a corruption problem. And I think that that's what people need to know. Nikki is corrupt. This is a woman who will send your kids to die so she can buy a bigger house. This is the problem. Using identity politics more effectively than Kamala Harris is a form of intellectual fraud. And it actually needs to end. There's our donor puppet masters wielding their puppet right up here tonight. This is how this game is played. The puppet masters put up their puppet, and I reject the use of identity politics in this party. It has been a cancer coming from the left, and I'm sick and tired of the double standards. The people of this country are too. Having 2 X chromosomes does not immunize you from criticism.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Governor Haley, would you like to respond?
No. It's not worth my time to respond to him.
You've been using identity politics at every step. She knows it's true, and that's why she's actually
okay, sir, we're not going to give you a response to the question that was to you.
Okay, we got to move on to this. Now, by arrangement with the Republican National Committee, we've got 2 questions for you about the Justice Department and our election system. Here's Tom Fitton with Judicial Watch. Governor Christie, this one's for you.
President Trump and many of his supporters claim federal law enforcement agencies have abused his civil rights for the last 8 years by, among other things, spying on him and now prosecuting him while having treated Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden with kid gloves. A recent Gallup poll shows that Americans think more highly of the U.S. Postal Service than they do the FBI or Justice Department. What would you do as president to restore the faith of the American people in these agencies?
Well, first off, I'm the only person on this stage who's actually done a job in the Department of Justice. I was the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey in the 5th largest office in this country, appointed by President Bush on September 10th, 2001.
Uh-oh, here it goes.
And it was an extraordinary time in this country to be on the front lines of fighting the greatest attack against our country since Pearl Harbor.
He can't not mention September 11th.
Years I spent in the Justice Department. And one of the reasons I am is because I had an attorney general when I came in named John Ashcroft. And John Ashcroft stood up and told each and every one of us our job was to do one thing, to make sure justice was done every day, regardless of partisanship, regardless of gender or race or any other consideration. And that's what we did for 7 years. And at a time when our country was at its greatest moment of danger in the last 40 years, we did exactly that. And there was not another domestic terrorist attack on this soil. So what I would do as president, having had that experience, and the only one who's had that experience, is to pick an attorney general who will absolutely do the same thing that John Ashcroft did, to pick U.S. attorneys who will only care about making sure that justice is done without regard to any other consideration but the facts that are presented and whether someone is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and the government can prove it. We have had attorneys general like Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch and Jeff Sessions, and now our current attorney general, who have not met that standard. And the only way you restore people's faith in the justice system is to put someone like that in charge of the Justice Department, and then as president, to get the hell out of the way on anything that involves criminal investigations. If a president's involved in trying to do something and put their thumb on the scales, Donald Trump says he will do, that makes people much less likely to believe our justice system can be fair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Governor DeSantis, next one's for you. Back to Tom Fitton.
Many Republicans are concerned about the legitimacy of elections. A federal judge just ruled that Pennsylvania must count undated mail-in ballots, and unlike Alabama, many states still don't require any identification to vote. What should states do now to increase election integrity and voter confidence for the 2024 election?
Well, Tom, thanks for the question. Thanks for what you guys do at Judicial Watch. It's really, really important. There's a lot of corruption in this government. You guys are doing a great job. What you should do for election integrity is do what we did in Florida. 20 years ago, Florida and elections was a joke. Everybody would laugh at it. I came in, I removed a couple supervisors from South Florida. We require voter ID universal, no Zuckerbucks, no mass mail balloting, and no ballot harvesting. We even have an agency that prosecutes people for violating election laws. The result of that, in both 2020 and 2022, we counted millions and millions of votes on election night, produced the results, it was transparent, and everybody was happy. That is not happening throughout this country. But let me tell you this as the nominee. I think it's important. Not every state's where we need it to be. There is ballot harvesting in places like Nevada, all these places. I am not going to fight with one hand tied behind my back. I'm going to have organizations in all the swing states. If they're harvesting, we're harvesting. If they're Zuckerbucks, we're Zuckerbucks. We are going to exploit whatever the rules are. I favor changing the rules to be like Florida and some of the other states that have done a good job. But until then, we have to do that. And then just on the Justice Department and FBI. I mean, I remember being, in Iraq working with FBI on the ground and being, and then I was a special assistant. I used to have such a high regard for these agencies. What they did to Donald Trump with the Russia collusion was one of the biggest abuses of power in the history of our country. These agencies need to be cleaned out. With me, you'll have a new FBI director on day one. We're going to clear out the DOJ, the IRS, all these places. Buckle your seatbelts. There's going to be a new sheriff in town.
Thank you. All right, we got to do a quick break. We're going to come back in 1 minute. China,
empty
up next.
promises. All right, let me mute right there. And okay, so that one, there was some back and forth there. That was pretty fun. That was pretty interesting. Again, hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I see we have over 200 on Rumble. At least we did. I know Rumble, people said they were having some issues on Rumble. I think they probably have a lot of traffic. I'm watching the GOP debate on Rumble, so that's what I'm sharing right there. So, but it looks like it just... Is it still going right now?
If you're
okay, yeah, it's still going. But yeah, so welcome in everyone, and appreciate you guys with the super chats, with the gift of memberships. Thank you so very much for the support. Nearly 2,000 here over on YouTube. Smash the melee button. Welcome into the snake pit. My name is Jeremy. This is CobraCast 199, and I appreciate all of you being here, hanging out. I had a different kind of idea for tonight's show. I honestly forgot that the GOP debate was happening because it is the debate of irrelevancy, because the most relevant person is Donald Trump, always has been, always will be, and he will be the nominee. So this is just a dog and pony show right now. Clearly Vivek is the standout right here, and DeSantis is the person that is the most disappointing, just in general, for the potential that he had. Really quickly, let me show you guys this, because this is something I was planning on talking about tonight, and we might get to it. We'll see how the show goes. But we had this right here. So Tucker Carlson actually announced this right here. Alex Jones predicted 9/11 in detail and on camera months before it happened. How did he do that? And why did the government decide to destroy him after he did? The full interview on Thursday, Tucker Carlson and Alex freaking Jones. Let's go. I responded and I said, can't wait to see if Elon Musk retweets this one. I'm guessing no. Hashtag free Alex Jones. Because as we know, Elon Musk always retweets Tucker Carlson. And he's like, oh, interesting. Oh, check this out. I guarantee he doesn't retweet this one. I would be shocked if he did. I'll say that. I will be shocked if he retweets Alex Jones. Alex Jones deserves to be on Twitter. It's a crime that he's not on Twitter. And I think that that's something Elon Musk still has to be accountable for and held accountable. I like Elon Musk. I like what he's doing on Twitter, but the fact that Alex Jones is not there is just downright unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So we are waiting for the GOP debate to return. And we will see. We will see what happens in this, I guess, the final 30 minutes. And right now, I think it's clear that Vivek is the clear winner here tonight. Chris Christie has probably made it the most interesting, because Chris Christie, he's very, Chris Christie has nothing to offer. So he's doing everything he can. He wants to get as much social media as he can. We all remember his Donald Duck comment that he made about Donald Trump, and he was so proud of himself. That fell completely flat. He is the guy that's kind of throwing the most controversy in there. But again, it's only because he's so irrelevant. Nikki Haley is pretty much where she wanted to be, as is Vivek, in terms of where they are in the polls. Nikki Haley wanted to position herself to be relevant enough to be in this final run. Vivek obviously has done a great job of becoming he went from an unknown to a very relevant person. And Ron DeSantis is the person that so many thought was actually going to be competitive, and he's now second and third, a distant second and third in some polls right now. And he's just trying to remain somewhat relevant, but no one actually takes him very seriously. So that's kind of where we are with this. All right.
Welcome back to the final GOP presidential primary debate of 2023. We're going to talk about our college campuses, starting with you, Ambassador Haley. House Republicans yesterday hauled elite university presidents up to Capitol Hill to answer for the displays of anti-Semitism on college campuses. These leaders, including the president of Harvard, were asked whether calling for the genocide of the Jews would violate school policies against harassment and intimidation. All of them said it would depend on the context, including whether that speech veers into conduct. How do you think these schools and the rest of society should balance the imperative of free speech against the need to prevent radical activists from harassing and intimidating others?
It was disgusting to see what happened. You know, if this had been the KKK that was doing protests on those campuses, every one of those college presidents would have been up in arms. This is just as bad. The idea that they would go and allow that kind of pro-Hamas protest or agree with the genocide of Jews and try and say that they needed context on that, there is no context to that.
That's awesome, Hayden.
This is what we need to do to deal with it.
That's awesome.
First of all, we have got to get foreign money out of our universities. You've got Arab money, you've got Chinese money, you've got others. We need to go to every university and say, you either take foreign money or you take American money, but the days of taking both are over. The second thing we need to do is Biden made a mistake not including anti-Zionism in the definition of anti-Semitism. If you don't think that Israel has a right to exist, that is anti-Semitic. We will change the definition so that every government, every school has to acknowledge the definition for what it is. The third thing is we really do need to ban TikTok once and for all. And let me tell you why. For every 30 minutes that someone watches TikTok every day, they become 17% more anti-Semitic, more pro-Hamas based on doing that. We now know that 50% of adults 18 to 25 think that Hamas was warranted in what they did with Israel. That's a problem. When campuses also don't go and protect when they have these rallies and you've got students that are scared, we need to go to these universities and say, if you're not going to protect these students, if you're not going to acknowledge anti-Semitism, we'll take your tax-exempt status away. That'll fix it, and that'll take care of it for good.
Staying with you, Ambassador Haley. On October 6th, the Israeli government thought it had a clear-eyed view of the threat from Hamas. In fact, according to the New York Times, it even had Hamas's attack plan and dismissed it as an aspiration. The Israelis were wrong. In our country, the FBI director told the Senate panel just yesterday that he sees, quote, blinking red lights everywhere, and that the threat level has, quote, gone to a whole nother level since October 7th. Which of the threats facing our country do you worry could blindside us?
What worries me and what keeps me up at night is what happens between now and Election Day while Joe Biden's in office. That's what worries me more than anything else. But I'll tell you that America right now is acting like it's September 10th. We better remember what September 12th felt like, because it only takes one. And whether you're looking at open borders that are allowing people to come in, Iran knows the easiest way to get to America is through the southern border. And we're not doing
I just don't care when she talks. I tune out completely. I just don't care.
of our country, whether it's in our schools, whether it's on our social media, whether it's we need to stop all foreign lobbying that's happening to members of Congress, and we need to start securing America again. Until we do that, we are going to be at threats. We've got to look at Iran, China, and Russia want to destroy the West. We have to start acting strong again. We've got to start protecting Americans. Right now, Americans don't feel protected, and we're not doing anything to strengthen it. So Joe Biden continues to be a problem. That'll change on Election Day.
Governor DeSantis, if China invades Taiwan, would you send American troops, as President Biden has said he would do?
We will be able to deter that from happening. I think that's the important thing. We need a strategy of denial so that we're deterring Xi's ambitions.
What if it doesn't work?
It's going to work. Taiwan's an ally. We have longstanding American policy, and you know how that's done, and we will follow that. But here's the thing. Taiwan is important not just because of semiconductors. It's important because if China is able to break out of this first island chain, they're going to be able to dominate commerce in the entire Indo-Pacific. They will use that to export authoritarianism all around the world, including here in the United States. You look at some of these guys, actually some of them that are supporting Nikki on Wall Street, they grovel to China. Anytime something happens, they got to go do that. So they already exert a huge amount of authority over this country. It will get a lot worse. So deterring China's ambitions is the #1 national security task that I will do as president, and we will succeed. The 21st century needs to be an American century. We cannot let it be a Chinese century.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
I think we need to be
I'm
clear.
coming to you
I'll
next.
be clear on the same issue, if
Okay,
I may.
I'm coming to you next on Taiwan. You said if you want to stop Xi from invading Taiwan, quote, let's open a branch of the NRA in Taiwan and put an AR-15 in the hands of every family and train them how to use it. That will give Xi a taste of American exceptionalism, end quote. The National Police in Taiwan announced a zero-gun policy last year. Is this a serious policy proposal? And if it isn't, why do you keep repeating it?
Well, it's part of a broader deterrence strategy. And so I think I'm going to respectfully disagree with Ron here. I think the next U.S. president needs to be crystal clear that at least for the foreseeable future, the U.S. will absolutely defend Taiwan. And it is with that clarity that we actually achieve deterrence. But I have a broader strategy than that. We need to get on side in our relationship with India, take it to the next level. India has to be able to block the Andaman Sea, which is where China gets most of its Middle Eastern oil supplies. That's critical. I also do believe the Second Amendment is a critical way of preventing foreign autocrats from being able to, it's worked in America, why wouldn't it work in Taiwan? So it is part of a broader strategy. But I do think that we need to be specific about our deterrence strategy, or else Xi Jinping is just encroaching by the day. And the reason why we're not doing it for China, I want to be crystal clear, is because we're scared. Why are we scared? Because we depend on them for our modern way of life. Why do we depend on them for our modern way of life? It's because Nikki Haley's latest friends like Larry Fink have created commingled economies with BlackRock telling Exxon and Chevron they can't drill here while being a shareholder of PetroChina, not applying those same constraints in China. So it is our economic dependence on China that makes us scared. If that were a Russian spy balloon, we'd have shot it down in an instant. If that were a Russian spy base in Cuba, we'd be actually going hard on them instead of turning the other way as we are with China. So it comes back down to that economic dependence. We cannot depend on them for our pharmaceuticals, our semiconductors, and people have been lied to for a long time. Our own military, the F-35 jets that we make in this country, depend on China, and it's going to take an outsider to fix that broken establishment.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy. Ambassador Haley, would you like to respond?
I mean, when it comes to China and Taiwan, the one way that we keep China from going into Taiwan is, one, make sure that we win in Ukraine, that we protect our friends, but also let China know that they'll be hell to pay if they go into Taiwan. They need to know that there is going to be a force that's going to go against them. And they need to know it's not just going to be the United States. That is why we need to build our partnerships with India, with South Korea, with Japan, with the Philippines, with Australia. We need to start pulling that alliance together. And the first way we do that is we need to make sure that on day one, we look at the fact, if China pulled the rug out from under us tomorrow, would we be ready? Think about what happened during COVID. Everybody told you to wear a mask. They were made in China. Everybody told you to take a COVID test. They were made in China. Everybody went and, I mean, everything that happened, if you go to the drugstore, all those medicines are made in China. We have to make sure that we are not relying on China for anything related to our national security, which means let's start focusing on doing deals with our friends now.
Thank you, Ambassador. Governor Christie, I'd like you to weigh in on that. And do you think arming every family in Taiwan with an AR-15 is a plausible policy?
You know, I don't think we have constitutional authority over Taiwan to give them a Second Amendment. I think they can only do that for themselves. But look, I want to be really clear. Once again, I want to play the role of actually answering your question, which is if China went after Taiwan, you're absolutely right. I would, as president, have us go militarily and defend them. Secondly, I'm not afraid, based upon those economic relationships, to do that, because these economic relationships mean nothing, nothing. If what's going to happen is that China is going to come and act in that region of the world however they see fit. It's not right. And I'll say this about
I'm so bored.
What I heard from Nikki earlier. She said that Donald Trump was good on trade. He wasn't. And the proof that he wasn't good on trade with China is that all he did was impose tariffs, which raised the prices for every American. You want to know what has contributed to inflation in this country? Yes, it's more government spending. Yes, it's the fact that we're printing too much money. Absolutely. But it is also the increase in prices that were driven by Donald Trump's tariffs. And one last thing, you can't say he was good on trade because he didn't change one Chinese policy in the process. He failed on it.
Thank you, Governor Christie. Governor DeSantis, switching subjects here. For 15 years, Republicans have been burned by politicians' promises to repeal Obamacare. Trump repeatedly promised to replace it with, quote, something terrific, but failed to propose anything. You're now promising something better, but Florida has more uninsured people than almost any other state. Why should Americans trust you more than any other Republicans who've disappointed them on this issue?
Well, I think we have millions of Americans who do not have access to affordable health care. And it's not just getting some type of card and Medicaid, because a lot of times they don't even get access to doctors. Do you actually get access to care? The other thing is we have millions and millions of people who don't have access to good doctors and good hospitals. Florida did not expand Obamacare. I think the states that did that, I think, are struggling financially. So that, yes, we declined to do that. And I don't think that that was the right policy to do. But we are going to go after the cost. You're paying too much for everything. We've actually addressed this in Florida in some ways, but you need price transparency.
When they aren't fighting, it really shows how irrelevant they are. I mean, this is fucking boring when they're not fighting because they are absolutely irrelevant.
That we get that done.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to, this is a very personal issue to our family. I wanted to take actually a minute to recognize my wife who's here today. Badass surgeon. She did a bunch of cases with cancer survivors earlier today, flew here to be tonight. We'll be back at 7 a.m. in Columbus, Ohio tomorrow, taking care of those patients in the OR. And on the front lines of people who have actually not swallowed for years. And here's what's something that's awful that's happening in our healthcare system. They'll pay for anything like feeding tubes, doctors to be pill pushers, but for the procedures that can actually make these patients better, we have a broken healthcare system that doesn't pay for it. My wife, Apoorva, in many cases, does not get paid for those procedures. She does them anyway because it's the right thing to do. But that does not work system-wide. So here's the answer. We don't have a healthcare system in this country. We have a sick care system. We need to start having diverse insurance options in a competitive marketplace that cover actual health, preventative medicine, diet, exercise, lifestyle, and otherwise. And here's how we deliver that. End the antitrust exemptions for health insurance companies. That's where the competitive marketplace begins.
Next
That's crony
question's for you.
capitalism, and that's the answer.
Okay, through Operation Warp Speed, the Trump administration and private industry developed a COVID vaccine in record time.
I think the Rumble is stuttering for everybody. I think it's not just me. Yeah, I think Rumble's having... Yep. There we go. So they're having issues, apparently. They've been having... Is this being streamed exclusively on Rumble? Is this being streamed exclusively on Rumble? I think it is. Well, I guess I can see if I can find it somewhere else really quickly. Let's see if it's on YouTube somewhere. GOP debate. Let's see if I can find another one really quickly. GOP debate. GOP debate. That one might work. Nope, I can't watch it. So it's on Newsroom. Yeah, I can't. I guess it's down. Jeez. Why can't I find it anywhere? I'm looking for it right now as it speaks. So, why does Jeremy say everything twice? I don't know. I mean, I could say it 3 times if it'd make you feel better. News Nation has it. Like what? Their website? Yeah, I can say it 3 times if you'd rather me say it 3 times. I have no problem with that. Is this it? Yep. All right, here we go. We got it.
Clean divorce. Let companies be companies, but I don't like the crony capitalism. This dates back a long time in both parties. And I think that we need to end the lobbying. And I personally believe that if you have been working in the government, you should not lobby that government for 10 years. If you have been a government elected official doing deals with companies, be they Boeing or be they pharmaceutical companies, you should not join the board of that company for 10 years after. The former chairman of the FDA, the leader commissioner of the FDA, ended up on the board of Pfizer. Nikki Haley did deals with Boeing, ends up on the board of Boeing. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat. We need some basic principles that end the corruption in government. That's how we got the health insurance exemptions. That's how we got the pharmaceutical product liability exemptions. We end the corruption.
We need a reckoning for what this government did during COVID-19. That includes the mRNA shots. They put it out. It was experimental. People wanted it. Then the government started trying to mandate it, to say you don't have a right to put food on your table if you don't take an mRNA shot that was under emergency use. They tried to take nurses away. Now in Florida, we blocked that. We provided protections for everybody so that they wouldn't lose their job. You also have the FDA approving an mRNA shot for 6-month-old babies. There was no data to support that. They're doing it because big pharma will make money. So I'm going to go in there, CDC, NIH, FDA. We're going to clean house. There's going to be a reckoning because right now nobody's been held accountable for any of the damage. And they're going to try to do it again. When I'm president, this will never happen to our country ever again.
Thank you, Governor DeSantis. And we will be right back in just a few moments for our closing statements from our...
Okay, so so Rumble had 150,000 people watching on that feed, but it does look like it's at the commercial now. But I'm going to stick with the News Nation feed direct here. I'll stick with the direct feed here to make sure we don't have any issue. Yeah, like DeSantis and this nonsense with him in terms of like DeSantis tries to act like he tries to have these talking points against Trump. Like Trump clearly made some mistakes when it comes to COVID. I don't think anybody is going to argue that point. The thing that makes me mad is you have these DeSantis simps that act like DeSantis would have done something different. When DeSantis, I live in Florida. DeSantis shielded very hard for the jab, and we did lock down for a short period of time here. We absolutely did. Didn't last as long as other places, but he sure enough pushed the jab. He pushed it big time. And that is a fact. That is 100% fact. And so this narrative that Ron DeSantis would have done something different is nonsense. So I just don't buy it at all. So to me, Trump has won yet another debate. He's won every debate, and he hasn't been to any of them. These clowns they don't know what they're talking about, and it's just irrelevant. This whole debate charade infuriates me. The fact that any of them think they will be the president, let alone the Republican nominee, is just ludicrous and sad. We lose this time. We lose the Republic. 1,000%. 1,000%. And that's been my stance on it the whole time. It's Trump or nothing. Trump or nothing. And I know I saw someone say, because I said when you guys aren't fighting and arguing, they're irrelevant and boring. And somebody said, well, if you want to go watch WrestleMania, I'm here to see who's best for the country. Well, you're not going to see that in this debate, because the person that's best for the country isn't there. And that's the whole point as to why all we want to do is see these clowns fight and argue, because none of them are what's best for the country. The best man is already sitting there waiting for the nomination to be official, because nobody's remotely close. So that's the reason right there. Again, do I like Vivek? I like him. In no way, shape, or form would I consider him for president. Not even close, because Donald Trump is the person I'll be voting for. Let's see. Buford T. Justice, who's been very supportive tonight. Thank you, Buford. Let's talk about the anti-Christian laws that Israel has passed over the last year. They don't want to talk about that. Doug B., you mad lad, dropped a 50 over on Rumble. I missed it earlier, and I apologize, Doug. I do have both tabs opened up. But Doug said, God dang it, where'd it go? Christie sounds like me as a Bears fan. We were awesome in 1985. Dude, Chris Christie, I swear, Chris Christie can't do a debate without talking about 9/11. Like, he can't stop talking about 9/11. It's literally all he has is 9/11. It's become a meme at this point now with Chris Christie and 9/11. Thank you, Doug B. You mad lad, you. Appreciate you, brother. There was a few people again, since we're still at commercial break. Again, the pinned post over here on YouTube, and mods will be dropping links in the Rumble chat as well. If you want to go over and get a 221B 199 Geeks and Gamers special edition backpack, those are going to be available for pre-order for about another week to 10 days. And then they will be getting shipped out. If we move 199, if we move 199 of them, then we're going to give away 10 more for free to this amazing chat, the Snake Pit. So can we make it happen? We will see. Time will tell. Time will tell. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Adam says, Jeremy, when am I mopping the floor with you on Fortnite again? I don't know. You guys keep breaking every rule that we have set in place. Apparently you guys are streaming the member streams from your perspective as well, which is, again, I can't stop you from doing it. It's just a courtesy thing. It's a member stream, and we've had so many problems with you and your crew, and now you guys are streaming from your perspective, which is, again, it's just disrespectful because it's a member stream, and so it's like common courtesy. So I don't know. There's always a few good ones, few people that ruin it for the rest of everyone else. So. Oops, I'm sorry. Did I mute the wrong one? I got too many fucking tabs open.
A lot of time writing a book about President Reagan that's going to be called What Would Reagan Do? That book's going to come out early in 2024. And what I learned more than anything else was that Ronald Reagan was a slave to the truth. Ronald Reagan stood up for the truth, whether it was popular or unpopular at the moment. In
Can you hear it now?
1964, he stood up against the John Birch Society. when it was very unpopular to the party to do it, but he would not put up with our party standing for lies and deceit,
Keep it muted.
even it gave him political progress. That's the kind of president that I will be, and I would draw that inspiration from the 40th president of the United States, Ronald Reagan.
Ambassador Haley.
Well, I have to say, too, I think George Washington, when you look at the responsibilities he had of how do you go and take on this great American experiment and make sure that the people are protected. And they always knew that government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. And then you look at Abraham Lincoln and you look at the challenges and you look at the division that happened in our country and the ability to lead in spite of the loud noises and say, what will bring out the best in people to get us to go forward.
These are their closing arguments, by the way.
Is always something that's important, and I think we need that now more than ever.
Governor DeSantis.
Reagan, Washington, Lincoln, excellent. One of the guys I'll take inspiration from is Calvin Coolidge. Now, people don't talk about him a lot.
Why not George W. Bush?
Presidents that got almost everything right. He understood the proper role of the federal government under the Constitution. We need to restore the U.S. Constitution as the centerpiece of our national life. And that requires a president who understands the original understanding of the Constitution, who has a good sense of the Bill of Rights, and who knows how we've gone off track with this massive fourth branch of government, this administrative state, which is imposing its will on us and is being weaponized against us. So Silent Cal knew the proper role of the federal government. The country was in great shape when he was president of the United States, and we can learn an awful lot from Calvin Coolidge.
Over to you, Mr. Ramaswamy, to conclude our history lesson.
Sure. Well, I will say Ron picked a president who was born on July 4th. I'll pick one who died on July 4th. It's Thomas Jefferson. He was 33 years old when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. And you all are sitting on a swivel chair today. He invented the swivel chair.
Dude is on point, man.
While writing that Declaration of Independence. That's that founding spirit that we miss, that we're the pioneers. We're the explorers, the guy who sent him out on the Lewis and Clark expeditions. And I think a lot about what would Thomas Jefferson say to today's Republican Party. And I think one thing he'd remind us of, we haven't talked about it as much tonight, but I think it is one of the interesting ideological discussions we're having in our party is freedom of speech. You get to express your mind freely, no matter how heinous the opinion. Thomas Jefferson understood that.
All right,
He's an inspiration
thank you,
for
sir.
me.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaswamy.
The fact that he had that and he knew that off the top of his head is downright insane.
Governor Christie, would you like to begin?
Sure, thank you. I want you all to kind of picture in your minds Election Day. You'll all be heading to the polls to vote.
Oh, God.
And that's something that Donald Trump will not be able to do because he will be convicted of felonies before then, and his right to vote will be taken away. You know, look, here's the bottom line. You can boo about it all you like and continue to deny reality. But if we deny reality as a party, we're going to have 4 more years of Joe Biden. When my colleagues here raised their hands and said they would support him, even if he was a convicted felon, the bigger problem with it is they were confirming the lies he's told to the American people. If you're too timid to take on Trump, believe me, others will see that timidity. Xi, Putin, and the Ayatollah, the border crossers on the southern border, and the criminals in our streets. They'll sense that timidity, and they'll take advantage of that failure of leadership. We need to get back to an old American idea that every person is responsible for their own conduct, even a president. I'll be the kind of president who has the humility that knows that you work for the people. It's not the other way around. I will earn your trust.
The people, you mean the people that you shut the fucking beach down over so your fat ass could go sit out there?
Most important topics that needs to be discussed. That is this climate change agenda that is shackling this country like a set of handcuffs. I said it at the first debate and I stand by it. The climate change agenda is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. That's what we have to see. 98% reduction in the climate disaster-related deaths in the last century. 8 times as many people are going to die of cold temperatures this year than warm ones. Yet against that backdrop, there's an issue coming up in Iowa. It's core to Iowa farmers. I met Kim Junker, Kathy Stockdale, and other farmers who are about to have a carbon capture pipeline built across their land using eminent domain to do it. That's unconstitutional and it's wrong. And if you thought COVID was bad, what's coming with this climate agenda is far worse. We should not be bending the knee to this new religion. That is what it is. It is a substitute for a modern religion. We are flogging ourselves and losing our modern way of life, bowing to this new god of climate, and that will end on my watch. It's the most critical issue that's coming up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our country is in chaos. We see it on the southern border. We see it on our streets in our cities. We see it on college campuses. We feel it with our economy, with inflation and with debt. And we feel it around the world with wars in Europe and within the Middle East. We have to stop the chaos, but you can't defeat Democrat chaos with Republican chaos. And that's what Donald Trump gives us. My approach is different. No drama, no vendettas, no whining. I envision an America where we're protected from illegal immigration and Chinese infiltration. I envision an America where we unleash our economy and we reject socialism. But more importantly, I envision an America where we rediscover our national purpose and our pride.
Thank you.
I crushed Joe Biden in the polls. And if you give me this chance, we will crush him in November and take our country back. So to Nikki
Thank you,
Haley.
Ambassador Haley. Governor DeSantis.
We are in jeopardy of being the first generation of Americans to leave to our kids and grandkids in America less prosperous and less free than the one we inherited. I refuse to sit idly by and let that happen. But we got to have people that are going to be willing to fight the people that are doing this to us. You can't be these establishment Republicans that just cave at the first sign of opposition. I'll fight for you. We also need to win again as a party. Yes, win the election, which we've struggled to do, but also win on these big issues. And nobody has defeated these people more than what I have done in the state of Florida on issue after issue. We have won, and we have won big, and that's what we'll do for you. We also need leadership. Leadership is not about doing what's easy. It's about being willing to set out that vision, knowing they're going to shoot arrows at you. They're going to come at you. I will fight the good fight. I will keep the faith, and I will finish the race. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, all of you. Thanks to all of you.
Well, that was a thing, a very boring thing, but a thing nonetheless. But the memes are starting to flow. The memes are starting to flow. We have memes. And they're pretty glorious right there. We have this one right here. Dude, he may have like earned ultimate respect if he would have posted that. Okay. If he would have posted that, that might have won him the damn nomination. That might have won him the nomination. Holy crap. That would have been amazing if that would have happened. Yellow Flash clipped me out. I haven't heard this. Let's see. So Yellow Flash clipped this out. It says, every time Chris Christie speaks, I hear this music.
15 minutes into this debate, and except for your little speech in the beginning, we've had these three acting as if the race is between the four of us. The fifth guy, who doesn't have the guts to show up and stand here, he's the one who, as you just put...
Shout out to Yellow Flash on that one. Yeah, my whole timeline is pretty crazy right now of just people talking about all the... Let's see, hang on. All right. People are making fun of Ron DeSantis now on my timeline. Let's see what we got here. We got people making fun of Ron DeSantis. This man, Ron DeSantis, blinked more times than seconds he was allowed to talk. What is this Morse code? Hang on. All right. So how many times did he blink? To be fair, I blink a lot too, but how many times did he blink?
Refuse to sit idly by and let that happen. But we got to have people that are going to be willing to fight the people that are doing this to us. You can't be these establishment Republicans that just cave at the first sign
13,
of opposition.
14, 15,
I'll fight
16,
for you. We also need to win again
17,
as a party.
18,
Yes, win the election,
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 45. Holy shit, he's going to be fast.
They're going to shoot arrows at you. They're going to come at you. I will fight the good fight. I will keep the faith, and I will finish the race. Thank you, and God bless.
Freaking Ron DeSantis, man. There was another one that I was trying to find that I saw people talking about. Let's see. Oh, wait. So Chris Christie. Oh, hang on. So look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is Daily Caller. Chris Christie spotted getting heated with moderators during commercial break after Vivek told him to enjoy a nice meal. Oh, let's see here. Okay, let's see. Chris Christie spotted getting heated with moderators during commercial break after Vivek told him to enjoy a nice meal. Attendees spotted Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie getting into a heated discussion with 3 moderators on Wednesday night's GOP presidential debate during a commercial break after being told to enjoy a nice meal by Vivek Ramaswamy. Christie's opponent, Vivek, slammed his forced foreign policy, yada, 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 yada. Here we go. Don't give me a fucking ad. Fuck that. No. Oh, my God. Hang on. Jesus. I can't even stop it. I can't even fucking stop it. Fuck your ads. Holy shit. I couldn't even stop it. All right, hang on. Back on it. Good Lord. Couldn't even stop the damn thing. Following this moment, footage caught Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, speaking to the moderators. It is not known what Christie discussed with them, though he appeared. Let's hang on. Let's see. Hang on. He's pissed. He is pissed. I don't use like ad block and stuff like that. I know everybody tells me to. Yeah, he's really mad about that. I'm sure that's going to stop people from calling you fat, Chris Christie. I'm sure that's going to stop that. I'm sure no one's going to call you fat now, Chris Christie, because you decided to go have a word with the moderators. Everybody, don't call him fat. Don't call Chris Christie fat, okay? Don't make memes of Chris Christie. We certainly don't need to make memes of Chris Christie, okay? We certainly don't need to do that. We would never want to make him feel like we think he's an overweight slob. We would never want to show the pictures of Chris Christie on the beach after he shut the beach down. We would never want to show these pictures. We'd never want to pull this up. Chris Christie beach. I want to warn everybody ahead of time. Before I show you this, if you are eating food right now, or if you have a weak stomach, you don't want to see what I'm going to show you. You do not want to see this. But here's Chris Christie on the beach after he shut the beach down. Bro, that's just bad, okay? That's just bad. That's really bad. Woof. Woof. Yeah, I apologize to everyone for subjecting you to that. It's pretty bad. That's rough right there. There's several super chats and member chats I've got to get to, so if I've missed yours, I will be getting to those. Let's see. Well, this is true, actually. I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. This is a leading report tweeted out, says, former President Trump claims that in an unrigged election, he would win Illinois, New York, and California. I agree with that. I mean, again, Donald Trump is the most popular person in this country. There's no doubt about that. I know he's also divisive, and I know he's very hated as well, but Donald Trump's the most popular person in this country. And so that's why they're rolling people out like The Rock. And I was going to talk about this earlier, and then we got sidetracked on the debate. But right here, The Rock meeting with some military at the Pentagon. This is just days after The Rock's interview where he talked about parties reaching out to him. And there's The Rock. I'll just mute this. But here's The Rock leaving. And again, I don't know what the plan is. What I do know is that Joe Biden, I don't see any scenario where Joe Biden is going to be the nominee. I had previously said that the plan was to put Gavin Newsom in that position. I firmly believed that was the case. After his debate performance with Ron DeSantis, I'm not sure because he didn't look very good in that debate. And Ron DeSantis is a cringy individual. And so I know that there's a lot of DeSantis simps out there that just can't stand that Trump just keeps trolling them with the whole Newsom thing. They're losing their minds over it. But I don't know what their plan is. But if you look at the rise of Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift's always been a very popular musician, okay? Very important to pop culture. No doubt about that, okay? So I'm not disputing that. But the media fascination with Taylor Swift in the past 6 months is just insane. It's just insane right now. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And, of course, Taylor Swift is actively out there trying to get people to vote, and you know which way she wants them to vote. They're not going to just let Trump walk away unscathed. They're going to do everything in their power to stop him, and everything that they have tried to do up to this point has not worked. All right? Their bullshit indictments have not worked. Ron DeSantis, they thought that was the chosen one for them. It has not worked. Everything that they're doing right now is falling apart. So the next thing would be to get massive celebrities like The Rock involved. And I'm not saying necessarily to run, but I do think Rock is more likely to run for president than a lot of people. But they want Taylor Swift to try to motivate people to vote the right way. So there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of moving parts. There was also this clip of Patrick Bet David that I thought was pretty damning. It was this pretty damning clip right here. Let's listen to this right here with Patrick Bet David on the Full Send podcast. Listen to this about Ron DeSantis.
Interesting to see what happens. Do you prefer Trump wins, or do you think DeSantis still even has a chance?
We had DeSantis on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and it was an interesting conversation. It was the first time I saw him kind of getting comfortable and loose and talking, but I'll give you one perfect example. I asked DeSantis, I showed him the clip about his boots because they say he wears high heels. And I said, how tall are you? He says 5'11". Okay. There's pictures online of his marriage with him and his wife, and they're the same height. And she's 5'6", 5'7". Maybe she's wearing heels. Maybe he's 5'8". Okay. There's pictures of him playing baseball. There's pictures of him when he was younger. After 21 years old, how many more inches do you grow after 21, right? And he wears these boots, and it just doesn't look good, right? So this hashtag for 2 days was trending called Bootgate after we did the podcast. And I asked him a question, and I gave him a box of Ferragamos, his shoe size. I said, I'd love to see you wear dress shoes and tennis shoes. And he says, I can't accept a gift. You know why I was doing that? I was doing that for there to be a moment of levity and self-deprecation for the audience to be like, you know what? I like him. Let me give him a chance. He's a human like me. Because when Trump went on Jimmy Fallon, he says, hey, Jimmy, Trump, they say your hair is a toupee. He said, my hair's not a toupee. It's my hair. He says, you sure? Can I touch it? He says, well, I'm about to go to a fundraising at Rhode Island. I just hope the people in Rhode Island know if my hair's messed up, it's because of Jimmy. He goes like this. You know what Jimmy does? Have you seen this? He messes with his hair. He pulls his hair. He says, no, it's real. Guess what? Done. The world watched it and said, no, he thought he was an uptight, guy. He let Jimmy play with his hair. What was that all about? These are moments where people kind of say, he's like me. DeSantis' challenge is, my opinion, and I asked him, I could be wrong. You ever met people that grew up in an environment where they were walking on eggshells with a father or a mother that
yeah,
dude, and that kid grows up like, hey, if you ever want to be a president, you better make sure you don't do this or send this text or send that email.
I'm going to say something real quick, too. And again, no hate, okay? I didn't know who the Full Send podcast was until they did their Trump interview like a year ago. And it got taken, I think it got taken down. That's the first time I'd heard of the Full Sin podcast. Okay. So I hear about them and I'm like, God dang, they're huge. All right. I've only watched a few of their podcasts. These guys know nothing. I watched them do an interview with Hulk Hogan, and they knew nothing about wrestling. They knew nothing about it. They didn't even, I don't think they knew the NWO storyline. They know nothing about anything. Did you hear him? He's like, did you see the clip with Trump and Jimmy Fallon? Everybody has seen that clip. Everybody has seen that clip. And these guys like, I think so. Like, no, dude, that was a mega viral clip. Everyone has seen the clip of Trump getting his hair messed up by Jimmy Fallon. Literally. Again, I'm happy these guys have a following. I don't know how the hell they've pulled it off because they don't seem to know a damn thing about anything.
With this picture because God forbid one day comes back.
Let me be clear. I don't know. Listen, I'm not an expert on pretty much anything. I'm just a jack of all trades, master of none. I know a little about a lot. But these guys know nothing about nothing, it seems.
Dude, that kind of a life is a miserable life. I watched DeSantis. I watched somebody who's walking on eggshells.
So for those, if you haven't seen the Trump clip with Jimmy Fallon, I'll show it to you right now. It's exactly like Patrick Bet-David said. Trump, Fallon. Let's see here. Is this a CNN clip? Yeah, we'll watch the CNN clip. All right, here we go.
Please welcome Donald Trump.
I'd like to point out that this was Jimmy Fallon before the left basically told him he had to hate Trump. And he's basically been apologizing for this clip for the past like 5 or 6 years or however long it was.
Donald, I want to ask you because the next time I see you, you could be the president of the United States. I just wanted to know if there's something we could do that's just not presidential, really, or something that we can do now that we're just both civilians. Like
what? This is. I'm not liking the sound of this. Go ahead.
Can I mess your hair up?
I'll be gentle. As long. The answer is yes, but the people in New Hampshire, where I'm going to be in about an hour from now, I hope they're going to understand. Okay?
You say yes?
Go ahead with my
Trump is awesome, dude. He is a fucking rock star. And to Patrick Bet-David's point, like that's the relatability of Trump. That's why people feel connected to him because he's just a dude's dude, man. He's this billionaire, this larger than life personality, most famous man on the planet. But he has this ability to relate to people, and it truly is phenomenal. It really is phenomenal, his ability to do that. And that's why people love the guy. And it drives the mainstream crazy. It drives the left crazy. It drives Hollywood crazy. A lot of it is just Hollywood's really mad because Donald Trump, like people like Mark Hamill and a lot of these movie stars, they're really upset. They're really upset that Donald Trump is more popular than them and more relevant than them. That's ultimately what it comes down to. All right. I'm so far behind on super chats. I am going to read some here soon. But I apologize for being so far behind. You guys are the best for hanging out. We've got a great crowd here tonight. And again, this episode didn't go as planned, but I think it's gone very well. And, I missed Monday and it really did. It sucked to miss Monday. And that, like I said, I don't even like talking about personal life stuff, but I felt the need to let everybody know that, you know, what happened with my dog, and rest in peace to Puppy Face. But through all the traveling and the family stuff, like, I was just exhausted Monday. And when I was getting ready to go live, I was like, I just didn't have it. I was completely out of energy. I just couldn't do it. But we're back, ready to rock and roll. Now, of course, next week I will be out of town on a family vacation, but we will have some coverage from Jay and some of the others at their leisure. But CobraCast will go on. It will go on. But yes. So let's see. Tom says I might have to do a super chat catch up. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. Super Groba says, why do we have to fight so hard for a good leader for all of us? Because the powers that be don't like that that there's people that might actually be on the lookout for the people, for once, and for America, really. Because I don't even think Trump's looking out for the people. Trump's just looking out for the country. And by default, that means that the people get looked out for, because Trump loves this country. No matter how much the left want to claim that he doesn't, he absolutely does. Buford T. Justice, I highlighted a lot of these. That crowd is full of Rhino RNC pollsters. Absolutely. Checking it out says the fact that Obama wrote our first AI policy means that things that needs to be replaced immediately. Very accurate. Sean Puffy says, how sad is this that this is a debate about the substance of being the next president and all they can do is talk about Trump. Hashtag Trump 2024. Well, yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to, is that he's the most important person in the room. Even if he's not in the room, he's still the most important person in the room. They can't stop talking about him. Hayden Wayne for 20 says, just got to see one of my old friends for the first time in 3 years for his birthday. Turns out he's a fan of our little circle. Was surprised I knew of anyone in the fellowship. Now to continue my journey home, hail the 199. That is absolutely awesome, Hayden. Have a safe trip, my friend. Buford says, Israel isn't America. If you have a problem with that statement, then you are the problem. America first and America only. Buford T. Justice says, Haley supported the BLM riots in 2020. Yeah, Nikki Haley is a warmonger and a terrible person. Buford T. Justice says, get rid of the Federal Reserve. David Fields says, Chris Christie sweats when he eats. John Wayne says, hey, Jeremy, if you have the time, please play the latest song, Donald Trump, All I Want for Christmas by High Res TV. Merry MAGA Christmas to all. I saw that he had another song coming out. I did. I'll have to check that out. Gerald Armstrong says, Val Venus roasted The Rock on Twitter. Based. The big Valboski. The big Valboski. Lord Botha says, hey, Jeremy, I was thinking of changing my internet provider soon and was wondering what's your experience with Spectrum been like. Bro, I am so done with Spectrum. I can't put into words, especially YouTube friendly words, how much I hate Spectrum. As a company, they are the worst provider in the history of the internet. I hate them with passion. I literally have called Spectrum up and said, I'll give you $1,000 a month. Just give me increased speeds and stop giving me shitty service. I'll pay whatever the fuck I need to, because they literally have a monopoly in this area. They're the only ones I can get. And they're like, sorry, sir. Oh my God. They're the worst, man. It's painful. It's painful. Corn just sideways says, sorry, I meme quick. Don't ever apologize for memeing quick. Never. Ryan Guy says, Chris Christie is tubby. Gerald Armstrong says, Megyn Kelly has blood coming out of her wherever. Classic quote from Trump. And I know normally we try to do Titanfall on Wednesday. That's another thing too, is I've just been doing so many streams. And obviously this is going to run late, so I don't think we're going to get a Titanfall tonight, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. But that's the other thing. I'm streaming way too much, and it's finally just caught up to me with all the other family stuff I had going on, and I've been burnt out. Lance says, would never vote for a non-white for office, says Lance. Vivek's pretty good, but until Trump is not in the running, Trump is my pick. I would consider Vivek for 2028. Absolutely, I would. But not now. And really, what the true test for Vivek for me will be is how will he handle Trump in 2024? How will he handle Trump being president? Is he going to stand with Trump? Is he going to be in the Trump administration? How is that going to work? And if he plays his cards right, then he will have MAGA on his side in 2028 for the most part. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lord Pterodax says, all hail the snake pit. Happy holidays to all. Thank you so much. East Coast Toasted Boy says, Garden State Lizzo. Alan Tanassi, if a woman ever asked me to show her my algorithm, I would say no, unless it was Alina Haba scanned in. What's up, man? Zinny Biscuit says, happy feast of St. Nicholas. These four get coal. What's up, Zinny Biscuit? Thank you. Thomas Smith says, you know what would make this better is if Trump came out of the rafters like Sting from the NWO WCW days and Shet talked all these stooges. I was actually thinking about that, dude. So bear with me for my wrestling fans in the audience, okay? But like when Chris Christie started talking about Trump being a coward and he won't show up to the debate and all of that, all I was thinking was I would give anything if we could get the stone cold glass breaking and then it turns out to be proud to be an American and Trump comes walking out and the crowd would go crazy because they're all saying like, Trump's a coward. He won't show up to the debate stations. And I'm proud to be. Trump comes walking out like clapping. Bro, it would have been the best thing ever. It would have been the best thing ever. You know, that would have been awesome. Oh, man, that's all I was thinking. I was thinking that. I love wrestling, at least old school wrestling. Chris Benoit says she reminds me of my wife. Oof. Oof. Coalise says large man simp for Nikki Haley. Yeah, that was sad. That was really sad what he did. Mr. Bentham says Chris Christie being a major simp for Nikki Haley. Yes, absolutely. Danish Bacon says first time watching a U.S. debate and that shit was fun as fuck. We need more of that here in Denmark. Hey, I'm glad I could give you guys some entertainment. I'm glad I could. I got to click off of that. SBC says, bought the bag. Now, where can I get that hoodie? So this hoodie was a temporary run as well over on 221B. But if we want, again, the goal is to get the bags. If I can get those up to the 199, I really that's going to help us with the budget and everything that we have into them. If we can do that, then it opens up the opportunity for any other limited edition stuff, and we can bring this hoodie back because this was a hoodie done through 221B, and we can definitely bring this back. That with the shirt and everything. The problem was I just from a business standpoint, like actually purchasing the stuff and having it on hand, it's a lot of money to tie up in inventory because I like to buy really good equipment, like good product to like that we're doing with 221B. I try to go to high end stuff so that it's durable and it's not just something cheap that we're slapping our logo on. You know what I mean? Because I care about what people are wearing and everything like that. The fan with no name, and of course that pinned link. Let's see. Oracle of Doom says still can't super chat. Been trying all night. Stupid YouTube. Close out of YouTube and then open the app or your browser window and see if that helps. I think I saw you saying that in the beginning too. The fan with no name says when I picture adult Cartman, I see Chris Christie. Fantastic Mr. Knox says the Rhino Haley happily took money from Democrats. Lord Botha says these vice presidential debates are fun. GL Dude says they could not address the elephant missing in the room. They've never built what he built. 6'3", 215. Hell yes. A feline named JJ says Haley wants to give citizenship to illegals as long as they paid taxes. John Kennedy, 6'3", 215. Former Governor Christie says, hello, Jeremy. I'm interested in the purchase of your backpack. I wanted to know how many double cheeseburgers can I fit in it. Oh, my God. That might be one of the best comments of the night right there. I want to highlight that one if I can find it. Jay Schwalbach was over on Rumble, too. I got to get to yours, Jay Schwalbach. That was fantastic. Oh my God. Look at this. Hey, Jeremy. This is former Governor Chris Christie. Hey, Jeremy, I'm interested in the purchase of your backpack. I wanted to know how many double cheeseburgers can I fit in it? Well done, my friend. Well done. Well done. Holy crap. Holy crap. That was good. That was good. I got over here on Rumble, Jay Schwalbach for 20 says Vivek's parents came to our planet of the 1950s. I've seen the video. They tried to warn us. This island Earth, 1950 sci-fi. Prove me wrong. The hyperlink doesn't work there. Oh, yeah, it does. All right. I'll have to see if I can play that. Schwalbach just running his mouth. You know what Schwalbach does. Vault 95 Survivor says, can we get a Geeks and Gamers 199 green bandana? I need to represent my hood, Grove Street for life. If you guys want bandanas, you can get bandanas. No doubt about it. No doubt. I will make it happen. All right. Back over here. Thanks for the support on Rumble, guys. I appreciate it. Still got 200 people watching on Rumble. Here's some gifted memberships. There's Flag Ninja with 5, Emmanuel with 1, Craig Morning with 5. You guys are crushing it on the gifted memberships. Mike Hill says, now Lady Gaga and Robert De Niro said they will be leaving the country if Trump wins. We will help you pack. We will help you pack. Xanaximus, a healthy, young, vibrant man who is 6'3", 215, isn't fit for president. News to me. Absolutely. Johnny Wiskus says, time to give Ron the hook. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier with the 199 super sticker. Thank you. Ira Brown Rich says, Trump couldn't clear the swamp because the use of Congress and the Senate had many battles and not enough allies. That's really what it comes down to. And I think it's a very disingenuous argument when people try to say that Trump didn't do this and didn't do that. That's from people that just want to actively not acknowledge that he was facing so much opposition at all times. And the thing, it's amazing what he was able to accomplish considering all the battles he was fighting and everything he was facing while in office. And so, yeah, I mean, of course, there were things that he wanted to do that he clearly just could not get done because he was facing too much opposition from not just the Democrats, but from people within his own party. Lord Botha says, Vivek just pulled his mask off and revealed Luke underneath. Oh, yeah, Luke from Timcast. Yeah. Flag Ninja, I don't know how to say his last name. How do you say Luke's last name? Rudikowski? Flag Ninja says, who invented the bowling pin to this, or who invited the bowling pin to this debate? Alan Tanasi says, Chris Christie, so fat he used Saturn's rings as a hula hoop. Woof! Luke TDS. Yeah, I don't like Luke has TDS. So does what's the other guy's name on Timcast? What's the other guy's name? The guy with the long hair. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Ian? Is his name Ian? Ian, yeah, Ian. Ian has TDS as well. Big time. Yo Pop says, I swear Nikki Haley is one rebuttal from calling the other candidate a bunch of stupid incels. Pretty much. Oracle of Doom with a gifted membership. I see that. Thank you. Stickle Jana says, a meme has been born. Mike Hill says, Oppenheimer will finally release in Japan next year. Jeremy is above average rooster. Buckle your seatbelt. There's a new sheriff in town. How many times is Ron going to use that line? Ron's just so cringy. It's just pathetic at this point. Accident Seller says, are you going to play Alex Jones' game on D-Day or G&G? If I do it, it'll be on Rumble. Phantasm says, whoever wins the GOP debate will either be Trump's running mate or Trump's punching bag, or both, like what happened to Kamala. But Crispy, no chance. None at all. Gerald Armstrong says, Nikki for president of Israel. Magadonian Esquire says, annex Canada, save them from themselves. Dutchy says, you think Vivek is a plant? Have you seen the video where he has the same talking phrases as Obama? I don't know if he's a plant or not. I mean, I think that's a valid thing to bring up. I've said from the beginning, I think he's way too smooth of a talker for me. He's way too prepared for everything, but man, the guy just is smart. The dude is a smart guy. There's no doubt about that. So you got to give credit where credit's due. He is a very smart guy. I don't know, though. I really don't know. He plays his cards well. I can say that. Lord Botha says Trump was bad on trade. Is a Beardo level take. Ira Brownward says, how many on the stage will send their children to fight in wars? Fair question. Yeah, none of them will answer it. Flag Ninja says, here's some motivation for chat to click like to see that sexy back end. Hey, that's right. We're over 1,000 likes. It's been such a weird stream that I haven't even been focused on stuff like that. We are over 1,000 likes, and we are going to get sexy back in. I don't think Rumble is competing with YouTube tonight, although we've had a good night on Rumble in terms of revenue. I think YouTube's probably got this one, although YouTube's not like, it's not like record numbers for us or anything, which is fine. It's fine. This was a laid back stream where we were reacting, so we know how that goes. Let's see, where did we go? Fantastic Mr. Knox says, beard of shame, say it loud, beard of shame for Crispy Chris. DM says, all Crispy has, all Crispy has is this fake tough guy. He never says what his message is. President Trump could beat his ass, beat the shit out of him, and the fraud in the White House. 100%. DM says Silk was trolling, asking if Michelle was a dude. Mozamboni, what's up, Mozamboni? What's the difference between Michelle Obama and Chris Christie? Michelle can actually see her own. Hashtag Big Mike. Former Governor Christie says, I don't appreciate you fat shaming me. I'm sorry, Governor. I'm sorry. I look, at the end of the day, me fat shaming you is not going to do anything but make you feel worse about yourself. So I will respectfully continue, because fuck you. Phantasm Mr. Knox says, fine. Crispy, Chris is big boned. Patrick L says, I'm fatty and I'm glad to make fun of Krispy Kreme for being a fatty. Super Grova says, in an unrigged election, Newsom would have been recalled. Good point. Jeremy's above average Rooster says, I can't speak for New York City, but Buffalo, Syracuse to New York, all you see is Trump flags every other house. That's about 3-hour drive. Hell yeah. Hazel Eye says, have you seen the pictures of Sebastian Stan playing Trump? Looks like a Lifetime movie. Yeah, and I don't have high hopes for it at all. Charles Ratcliffe says they want The Rock to be another Glenn Jacobs, Arnold, and Jesse Ventura. John Yarber says, Starlink. I have looked into Starlink a little bit. Hayden Wayne. Oh, so we got a couple from Hayden. Let's see where we're at here. So Hayden Wayne for, where the hell did it go? There's been a lot of super chats come in tonight. You guys are on it. Where did Hayden's go? I can't find it. You had a 20 that came in and I can't find at the moment. Or is it 10? Let's see. Oh, it's about the bandana. I need a blue and gray and black and green bandana and a white bandana. Man, look at all those requests from Hayden. But hey, you know, Hayden usually gets things that he wants around here. He's got some influence in the chat these days. Again, so the first line of business, go support the backpack. And then once that's done, we hit the number we want to hit. We open up the floodgates to more stuff. Zevin Cross says, when Nikki was talking, all I could imagine was her, saying the famous I Love War speech from the the major did in Helsing Ultimate. Yeah, dude, she's extremely unlikable. And I think a lot of people in the chat said it. She's basically a Republican Hillary. That's a very good way to break down Nikki Haley, a Republican Hillary Clinton. That's who she is. Thank you, Zeb. I appreciate that. Dougie B for 20. The talking points of Vivek and Obama being the same is the short I sent you on X. Had to leave Rumble. Got too annoying. Oh, with it lagging up. Man, is it still lagging up over there? Yeah, I've covered that here on the channel before, I think. But I can see if I can find that. Jed, if you can get that link and just put it in the private chat for me, I would appreciate it. And where are we at here? Lower Lips Liquor just dropped a D-Day Cobra membership. John Yarber says, we need fork knife. Oh, you Fortnite? If I was going to do a stream tonight, it would be in Titanfall, but I'm not going to have time because I've got to stop staying up till like 2 o'clock in the morning playing fucking video games and get back on track to building G&G and building D-Day Cobra. Cause I'll still play games. Just I can't do it till 2 o'clock in the morning. I gotta shift the schedule around a little bit. Cole Hauser says, Trump, baby, he's the man. 199. Yo, Joe, praise Allah. Praise Allah. Thank you, Cole Hauser. Dutchy says, you play Fortnite with viewers? I'd love to play with you. Yeah, I tried to, but like I said, it's every time we tried to play with viewers, like whether it was Mario Kart or some other stuff, it tends to always backfire because people abuse those opportunities. And it's just part of it. So over on Geeks and Gamers, though, we do try to do that. Tomorrow night is normally the time we do our member stream. I'm not sure if we're doing it or not. I've got a couple of other things that I've had planned out, so time will tell. Let's see. Simon says, hail the 199 member message. Thank you so much. Vault 95 says, damn, she's getting slammed from both ends by Ron and Vivek. Vault 95 says, waiting on this answer. Israel Hamas is not a U.S. problem. If it was formed by the British United Nations mandate, then it's their problem to solve. U.S. has its own infrastructure problems to fix. 100%. And then Vault 95 says, Nikki is such a super liar. The Ukraine-Russia war was already over before the Hamas attack in Israel ever happened. She is a bad person. The blind lawyer says that fat ass does not understand the Constitution, so that disqualifies him. He thinks Trump is guilty for his own benefit. Trump 2024. Ron needs to lay off the Bud Lights before debate time. His Mulvaney starts to show. Blind Lawyer says Ron, or I got that one. Vault 95 says the liars keep saying Trump would have gotten rid of Obamacare. Liars. Obamacare was a congressional mandate, and Trump asked the GOP Congress to repeal the bill. The GOP Congress told Trump to fuck off. Mod Eric says, big boy Ron, they taught him to point and to try to stand up straight like a kid trying to get on a roller coaster too short to be on it. It was pretty bad tonight, Ron DeSantis. I can't wait to see if all the memes from all the MAGA memers and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. I did want to tell everybody about this. Let me see if I can find it. Because I just saw this. He had called me about this earlier, so I was really happy to hear about this. So, boom. Look at here. Look at here, ladies and gentlemen. Look at here. I need you guys to go show some love on Twitter. All right? Show some love on Twitter. Our boy, RK Outpost, Ryan Kennel, will be at the Turning Point USA America Fest in Phoenix, Arizona, December 16th through the 19th. Look at Ryan. That's what's up. Look at there. Shout out to Ryan. So make sure you go and show him some love over there on Twitter. Happy for Ryan. And that's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So thank you guys. All right. Where are we at? Mod Eric says Krispy Kreme is mad he found out the buffet after the debate is canceled. Let's see. Audrey says DJ Cobra. I like that. Are you feeling okay? You started early. Yeah, doing pretty good. Dom H dropped 20 gifted memberships. Let's go. Thank you, Dom H. Twilight Media Group says, giving you a shout out as I get ready to celebrate my 44th birthday tomorrow. Keep up the great work. Well, happy birthday. Happy birthday. Keenan, for a 2-month member message, says, I think you would like the movie 8-Bit Christmas. It's about a boy's quest to get a Nintendo. 8-Bit Christmas? Why have I never heard of this? Let's check that out. Thank you, Keenan. Zephyr says, so much cope from DeSantis. Yuki says, there was no red wave because the people in charge of the Republican Party worked against candidates because they were all America First MAGA, 100%. East Coast Toasted Boy says, Ron's going to smoke them. DeSantis gained a lot of steam lately. Trump 2024, but he better watch out. Don't underestimate him. Policy versus policy. Ron wins. I disagree. Policy versus policy is that Ron DeSantis just ran for his second term as Florida governor, and as soon as he won it, he's abandoned his job. He lied. He lied to the people of Florida, and he has abandoned his job as the governor of Florida. That's not a good policy. That's a bad policy. That shows that he is a liar and manipulator. He just is. He's abandoned his job. He lied. He told the voters of Florida that he was here. He was going to complete his term. He literally lied so that he could continue to elevate his own personal gain. Now, again, does that make him a bad guy? It means that he's just like anybody else he's trying to call out. So when you try to call out Trump, when you're literally abandoning the job that you claimed to voters that you were going to do, then I got a problem with that. I got a real problem with that. And so, you know, again, I used to like Ron DeSantis a lot. The moment you stab Trump in the back, it's over for me. And I think his political career is dead. I do. I think his political career is dead. Ron DeSantis right now is trying to use the ghost of Rush Limbaugh on Twitter to try to put himself over. How pathetic is this? Anybody that knows anything about Rush Limbaugh knows that Rush Limbaugh was a Trump guy, and he would 1000% be supporting Trump right now. And there's no question about that. And the fact that he's using Rush Limbaugh on Twitter to try to promote himself is truly disgusting, dude. It's truly disgusting. So Ron is dead. He's dead. His campaign is dead. His political career is more than likely dead. It's over, and it's all because he stabbed Donald Trump in the back. He will never recover from this. The only way he recovers from this is if Trump forgives him and puts him over. That's it. That's the only way. His entire political future is all reliant upon Donald Trump. But Donald Trump will make or break him, just like he did when he was running for governor. Trump controls all. And Ron DeSantis has forgotten that. Python Bacon says, where can I get the bright red MAGA hoodie? I got that at the Trump rally in Florida. I don't know where they sell them, but like I said, I want to try to get, so again, once we get this backpack campaign closed, I did want to get that, see if Suresh could actually find those, and we would order those in, and I would make our own variation, like make gaming great again, you know, make movies great again, all that stuff. And obviously we could have the regular MAGA one too. So I'll keep you guys posted if I can find those. Mr. Dang says, hail from Canada. Dan Wonder says, Ron let the FBI into Florida to raid at Mar-a-Lago and then arrest Trump. Haley's lying. Trump won 2020. Checking it out says, checking it out became a tier 3 member. Tier 3 member. Let's go. Thank you. Kelly K says, I got nothing to say. Shout out to the 199. Thank you, Kelly. Biker Angelo says, Christy at the buffet. I'm not done yet. Eric K says, fat man in a little coat. Judy says, Nikki Haley is the Hillary Clinton of the RNC. Flag Ninja says, this debate is fire. Magadonian Esquire says, they care more about Israel than they do the United States. If we could only stop giving other countries millions of aid. Yep. Dan A says, they should do a remake of The Breakfast Club with these 4 characters. Kevin Cleary says, dear Snake Pit, I hope Chris Christie drops out soon so he'll have more time to spend with me. Signed, his swimming pool filled with gravy. I mean, gravy's a swimming pool of gravy. That sounds pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, man. Throw some biscuits in there. I'll jump in a swimming pool of gravy and biscuits. Woo! Let's go. That's Alabama style right there. Steps Abuse Keyboard says, Chris Christie is leaning on that podium so hard. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks. The winner of the debate is Vivek and by proxy Trump. Gungo Max says they had to take a commercial break to give Chris Christie time to run the Dairy Queen. Harambe Kojima gifted a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. Fantastic Mr. Knox gifted a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. Cerberus gifted a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. Jay Schwalbach says you need to clip out that Christie saying I'll take 45. Said it when DeSantis says I'm 45, not 44. 6-month member message my ass. I've been here a lot longer. He absolutely has. He absolutely has. Let's see. Let's see. Isildur's Bane says, Jeremy, can you play Drewski's Down South and they don't care about nothing but football and America? It's absolutely hilarious. Nothing but the Tide. Nothing but the Tide, baby. I don't want to play it on stream because you never know with the copyrights, but Roll Tide, baby. Michigan going down. It's over. It's over. And Epic Mike's going to be crying. Ron A says, Trump Tucker 2024. Zanaximus Christie being in these debates just gives new meaning to the phrase, ignore the elephant in the room. Let's go Trump 2024. Former Governor Chris Christie says, I can still see my ding ding when I look down. Flag Ninja says, Ryan isn't the diversity and inclusion officer we want. He's the diversity and inclusion officer we need. Sophie says, Jeremy can see the bags from here. Go the F to sleep, but seriously, take care. Don't burn out and take some time with the fam. Hail the 199. Rest for fuck's sake. I'm in pretty good shape right now. I'm pretty good shape right now. R Burger says, Rumble keeps freezing. I still have my Trump sign in my yard since 2020. Based. The Angry Badger says, just want to say RIP to Az and hail the fellowship and the 199. Look at you guys. Man, what a night it has been so far. And again, I thank all of you. We got to show the sexy back end. I don't know is that it or is there more? Did I miss some? Let's see if there's any more, Jed. I think we're caught up, right? Don't pass out, man. No, I'm good. I'm good. This has been, how long have we been going on this stream? This is about a 3-hour one, right? I think it's about a 3-hour one so far. So not a bad stream. So we got over 1,000 likes. Rumble's been great tonight. I love you guys over on Rumble. So it's time for sexy back end. Any guesses what chat revenue is at just on the YouTube side tonight? Any guesses? And again, I appreciate the super chats. I would prefer if you do have it in your budget to go purchase a bag, but if you don't, that's fine. Super chats are always welcome here as well, so don't worry about that. But we've gotten a lot of support on that. So Vince, you are close. Vince, man, some of you guys saying 3,000, get the hell out of here. We ain't got that much. 800,000. I wish. Levitro says, I'm in pretty good shape right now. This is Chrissy. All right. So the total for tonight, we have, look at that. No Comprendo just becomes a new member. And here's that sexy back end. At 1,000 likes, we show that sexy back end and boom, $449 in chat revenue and 50 new members. 51 new members, actually. So there we have it right there. The sexy back end. 3-hour CobraCast, a great stream. We peaked at around 1,900 viewers just here on YouTube. We had 200 all night over on Rumble. Rumble continuing to grow. And even with the stuttering over there on Rumble and the freezing up, we still maintain 200 viewers over there on Rumble. So thank you guys so much. Really do appreciate it. Swig of water to the working man out there. And yeah, like I said, no gaming stream tonight just because it's too late. And I can't keep doing these late nights on this. So I'm going to have to kind of schedule some of that stuff for those late night gaming streams. And, you know, I hope you guys did enjoy tonight. It's been a lot of fun. And let's see here. Caught up. All right. Jed, are we caught up? Have I gotten everything? Oh, there's one. Yeah, no Comprendo. I got that one. Am I caught up, Jed? You can pop in here. Let's see. Am I caught up?
Oh. Yep, you're all caught up.
All caught up. All right. So, I appreciate you guys, and it's been an awesome stream, awesome night, and we'll have Geeks and Gamers Daily tomorrow, and then I'll keep you guys posted for what's going on for tomorrow. Make sure you join our Discord, Geeks and Gamers Discord, the snake pit within the Discord for the D-Day Cobra stuff. And then we have all the other stuff going on with the Geeks and Gamers stuff. 199 backpack. Please go over there. Consider supporting it. You got about a week to 10 days left on that campaign. Pre-orders will close at that time. I will make sure that you have all the time in the world, or at least I'll let you know when it's happening the day of, so I won't let it shut down without everybody having a chance. I know it's expensive, and I totally get that. Some people can't afford it. Makes sense. But for those that can get out there and get it, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so very much. Fantastic Mr. Knott says, Crispy Chris is morbidly fit. All right, guys. So Geeks and Gamers Daily tomorrow. I'll see you over there. Have a great night. And as we always do, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of Sabaton. Have a good night, and we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone. All right, and I got reminded of something really quickly. Hailstorm, are you here? Unmute if you're here. I'll bring you in for a second. Hailstorm, we have forgotten 1,000 times to upload the high quality version of that to Rumble. Can we get that done tonight?
Yeah, we can get that done and get some emotes over there too.
Let's go. All right. So the high quality version of that, I know you guys have been asking for it forever. Someone said it in the chat. So we will get the high quality version of that uploaded to Rumble for your viewing pleasure. So yes, so we will have that done. I know people have been asking about it, so we will make that happen. All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Have a good night, and we will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.